It's the Stormcloaks the Empire wants.
We're all brothers and sisters in binds now, thief.
Shut up back there.
What's wrong with him, huh?
Watch your tongue. You're speaking to Ulfric Stormcloak, the true High King.
Ulfric? The Jarl of Windhelm? You're the leader of the rebellion, but if they captured you... Oh gods, where are they taking us?
I don't know where we're going, but Sovngarde awaits.
No, this can't be happening. This isn't happening.
Hey, what village are you from, horse thief?
Why do you care?
A Nord's last thoughts should be of home.
Rorikstead. I'm from Rorikstead.
General Tullius, sir. The headsman is waiting.
Good. Let's get this over with.
Sure, Mara, Debella, Kinnereth, Akatosh, Divines, please help me.
Look at him. General Tullius, the military governor. And it looks like the Thalmor are with him. Damn elves. I bet they had something to do with this. This is Helgen. I used to be sweet on a girl from here. Wonder if Vilod is still making that mead with juniper berries mixed in. Funny, when I was a boy, Imperial walls and towers used to make me feel so safe.
You need to go inside, little girl.
Why? I want to watch the soldiers.
Whoa!
Inside the house. Now.
Get these prisoners out of the car. Yes, Robin.
Why are we stopping?
Why do you think? End of the line. Let's go. Shouldn't keep the gods waiting for us.
No, wait! We're not rebels!
Face your death with some courage, thief.
You've got to tell them! We weren't with you! This is a mistake!
Step towards the block when we call your name. One at a time.
Empire loves their damn lists.
Ulfric Stormcloak, Jarl of Windhelm.
It has been an honor, Jarl Ulfric.
Ralof of Riverwood. Lokir of Rorikstead.
No! I'm not a rebel! You can't do this!
Halt!
You're not gonna kill me!
Archers! Anyone else feel like running?
Wait. You there. Step forward. Who are you? Captain, what should we do? She's not on the list.
Forget the list. She goes to the block.
By your orders, Captain. Follow the captain, prisoner.
I just realized I've been talking to myself since I turned on the stream because I thought I turned on the.
Some here in Helgen call you a hero,
I'm silly.
but a hero doesn't use a power like the voice to murder his king and usurp his throne. You started this war, plunged Skyrim into chaos, and now the Empire is going to put you down and restore the peace.
What was that?
It's nothing. Carry on.
Yes, General Tullius.
Fucking heart.
Give them their last rites.
As we commend your souls to Aetherius, blessings of the 8 divines upon you.
For the love of Talos, shut up and let's get this over with.
Our beloved.
As you wish.
Come on! I haven't got all morning. My ancestors are smiling at me, Imperials. And you say the same.
You Imperial bastards!
Justice!
Death to the Stormcloaks!
As fearless in death as he was in life.
Here it is again. Did you hear that?
I said next prisoner.
I
To the
said
block,
no.
prisoner. Nice and easy.
Why should it be nice and easy?
What in oblivion is that?
Sentries. What do you see?
It's in the clouds!
Don't just stand there. Guards, get the townspeople to safety! Someone get the battle mages out here, now! What are the ancient minds you? Get up!
Jarl, look. What is that thing? Could the legends be true?
Legends don't burn down villages.
We just need to move some of these boats.
Yeah.
Hammond, you need to get over here. Now! Not a boy. You're doing great. Torol! Make me proud. God! Everyone get back! Still alive, prisoner? Keep close to me if you want to stay that way.
Sometimes.
Gunnar, take care of the boy. I have to find General Tullius and join the defense.
Gods guide you, Helvar.
I might have to restart my computer.
Stay close to the wall!
Land. I'm trying to get better texture. for the dragons.
Quickly, follow me!
Me. Instead, how about you follow me? I'll go this way this time.
Looks like we're the only ones who made it. Was that really a dragon? To bring us of the end times? We should keep moving. Come here. Let me see if I can get those bindings off. There you go. Take a look around. There should be plenty of gear to choose from. I'm going to see if I can find something for these bones. You better get some gear. You better get that armor. Give that sword a few swings, too. Let's keep moving. That thing is still out there. Come on, this way. Hear that? Storm clouds. Maybe we can reason with them. Hold them now. We only want to see them there.
Oh well. I should probably put on the I should probably put on the
I spare you.
let me put some QI, huh? Because you don't exist. You're a cop. You don't exist.
Have her on. Let me see if I can get that door open. Let's go.
It's not working. Why is this shit not working?
Let's keep moving. Let's go.
But it will. But it will. As long as they think they can do this, it will. They don't care about these fucking lawsuits. These lawsuits don't matter to them. These lawsuits don't matter to them. It's always suspicious. I don't care. It's suspicious to you. Jesus fucking Christ, you're still suspicious. I'm suspicious of you. Yeah, it's not happening. It's always difficulty on their end. It's always, we're difficult, we're difficult, we're difficult, we're difficult, we're difficult. What part of this is legal don't you under fucking stand? Yes, I am. I am one of those folks. I am one of those folks. Yes. Yes. Yes, I am. It's none of your fucking business. That's what it is. It's none of your fucking business. The problem is you have the answer wasn't the answer wasn't what he wanted. That's the problem.
Down with your blood.
That'll teach you to quit. Let me see if I can get that door open. Let's keep moving. Let's go.
So there's nothing illegal, which means you're just violating my rights. He doesn't have to fucking answer that, you dumb fuck. I don't care that you're fucking talking. I don't care. I don't care. I don't fucking care. Because I don't have to have it. Indeed. No, he doesn't. He crushed you. You did. You did. Every generation. You did. You know what? Fuck that. We're watching this. There we go. Well, damn. I don't like that. That's trash. That's trash. Let me get my off. Because you know why. Yeah. You're a lieutenant, but you don't fucking know the law. What kind of sense does that fucking make? Stupid fuck. You are an idiot.
Yes, I'm about suspicious activity. Well,
you're suspicious and you're loitering. We've had cars stolen out of this lot.
Okay. It's suspicious. I have no problem.
You've had stuff stolen out this car. What about the lives you've stolen?
Put your hands up there. I'm gonna patch you.
Okay.
What about the lives you've stolen?
Can I put this?
Fuck them all, right? Fuck all of them, right? Well, they're just gonna keep patting you down because it is what it is.
That appears to be a vape, if I had to guess. Would that be correct, sir, or is that something with your photography? No, it's a photography thing.
No, it's
Dumb
fake.
motherfucker.
Is it? I can't quite tell.
Dumb motherfucker. I swear to God, they are.
Do you want me to...
Are we coming down there for a consultation?
No, I wasn't.
Why are you taking pictures of this license?
Because I fucking can. Damn. They really just, like,
What are you doing?
it bothers the fuck out of me because they think they can just do everything and whatever they want to do, and that if you question them, then you're fucking wrong.
Can't answer that, can
You got his name and all that?
Yeah, I'm in a suspicious activity case. Put the camera on property until he can give me a logical reason as to
I
why
got somebody coming down.
He's got to have a
lot.
a logical reason.
I got all that. I'll do the case and take pictures.
Oh, okay, perfect. So we don't need identity.
No.
You practice law enforcement.
It's practicing the law.
It's not practicing the law.
We already know that y'all do what y'all want to do.
Well, here are we confiscating this until we know what reason he's down here and the suspicious activity?
We have every reason. You have a warrant.
No, I'm going to confiscate for suspicious activity until you can.
Because you think it was involved in
724. Can you show me out at 25 East First? I'll get a case number for suspicious
involved in
activity.
a crime.
Well, you actually did exactly what you accomplished. You came down here, you made a scene.
From the cop's own mouth, this man is not here to harm anyone. He's here to cause a scene. And in this particular case, in which the way they claim he did so, it's not illegal.
You can call 4816 from the lobby desk, and they can come down and meet you, or you can go up to their office and you can make a formal complaint. I know you were recording me as we spoke.
They don't care about complaints.
I just was curious what you're down here for.
They don't care about
complaints. Building.
complaints.
People take pictures in front of it all the time, but a lot of people don't take pictures of our vehicles and things like that. Thus the reason for the suspicious nature of what you were doing. I know you're under no obligation to ever respond to me because you wish to challenge authority today and be a problem.
Wow, that's all.
My assumption.
That's crazy. Your assumption. Well, you know what they say about people that make assumptions, right?
I just do that. Have a driver's license.
You don't have, sir, you might want your readers. You don't have a driver's license? Someone ran him?
Thank you.
I hope your driver is somewhere nearby waiting for you. Have a nice day, sir.
The beautiful thing about this situation is that this citizen did not take this land down. This guy obtained an attorney and he fought back. Check out the trial. I'm going to put the link to the video in the description section. Also a link to the article explaining further that you guys can click on and make sure you read it. This is the way you do it. And make sure when cops step on your rights, you fight back. With that being said, We the People University, signing off.
You can't detain it and just open it up and seize it. And you can't detain it and keep it forever. And it seems to me on this record, the officers stepped way over that line.
So, well, I would say I agree with you that it is that line of cases that it could be reasonable suspicion that they can be held for reasonable suspicion. It was a few days that
the person can't. The person can only be held for the reasonable length of a Terry stop, and then must be allowed to go. But if there's a suspicion that extends to the luggage, then the luggage can be detained in order to apply for a warrant.
Right.
But but Youngblood said, "Well, I'll get around to that." Meanwhile, you don't get your camera. That strikes me. I mean, there's no clearly established right to do that, is there?
I would suggest to Your Honor that what Officer Youngblood did was to investigate Mr. Robbins more before he decided to try to go deeper into his phone, and avoided actually going further into
He seized somebody's property.
He seized it, and then he investigated Mr. Robbins. He learned that Mr. Robbins likes to post his grievances on YouTube, and his suspicions at that point were allayed as to the stalking behavior. He realized he is a person who is just interested in critiquing police and other individuals, and that allayed his suspicion. And so he gave the phone back because he didn't have any more.
He had only one reason to have that camera and phone in his hands, and that is if he could develop probable cause to believe there was evidence of a crime in there. And the only way he could get that, one way he could get that was to spend 5 days looking into Mr. Robbins himself. He had to get a warrant to look inside the phone and the camera. Otherwise, it's not his property, and it's not the state's property, and it's not the city's property, it's Providence's property.
Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers obstruction, detaining witnesses, and reasonable suspicion, and is brought to us by a private submission. Before we dive into the interaction, I want to give a big thanks to the sponsor of this episode, Surfshark. Surfshark is a premier VPN service on the market that offers unparalleled digital security for a fraction of the price of other competitors. Not only does a Surfshark subscription allow you to browse the internet safely, but it also comes with a ton of additional features to enhance your overall digital experience. One of the many perks of a Surfshark subscription is that it allows you to bypass region restrictions on popular platforms like YouTube and Netflix. New content that's not normally available in your country. Thanks to Surfshark, I can still watch my favorite episodes of The Office, even though it's removed from the US Netflix catalog. Right now, Surfshark is offering the APA community a new Black Friday deal that is an 85% discount with an additional 3 months completely free when you use code AUDIT. With 24-hour customer service and a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have absolutely nothing to lose. So click the link in the description to claim your exclusive offer now. Thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring this episode. On July 13th, 2022, veterinary technician, landlord, and father of 3, Reginald James, was stopped outside his rental property by several officers from the Texarkana Police Department in Texarkana, Arkansas, who were investigating a shooting that had occurred in the area. The interaction was captured by the body-worn camera of Corporal McAdams of the Texarkana, Arkansas Police Department.
I did hear some odd noises coming from over there.
With that guy, they're saying that this guy walking down the street right here is the guy that they were shooting at.
Okay, I've been seeing him walk around. He don't live in here, but I've been seeing him going off from back behind us there.
Let's have a conversation with him. They're saying he's the one that's shot at.
Okay. Hey man, let me talk to you a second. Hang on, hold on. Stop walking, let me talk to you a second, man. Okay. Hey, what's going on tonight?
I don't know. I ain't got nothing to do with y'all stuff.
Hang on.
Hey, work time, put your hands behind your back. Come on now.
I'm probably gonna share that shit with you just to motivate
you. Being detained right now?
Yes,
you are.
Being
detained. It's investigative detention. Alright? At this point, you are not in any trouble. No. You understand? But we're being told by multiple people that you were involved in all this. Okay. That these dudes were shooting at you. Alright. Is that the truth? I ain't got nothing to say to you. You ain't got nothing to say to me? Okay. Well, that's all right. Go ahead and get his identification and everything. We'll go.
Got an ID in your pocket, sir? Right here? Yeah. Okay. There's nothing on you that's going to hurt me.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, sir.
I'm going to pat you down for our safety then. Everybody else's safety. So is it going to cause you more trouble because they see you getting jammed up, or is it going to make it look like you're getting treated like and you can actually talk to us later? And,
I really ain't got nothing to say to y'all. I'm just trying to go home. Y'all stopped me for no reason.
No, we stopped you for...
I'm passing by and I fit a description.
You were pointed out.
That's okay.
So they may have all made a mistake when we work this out.
Y'all up. It's cool though.
How do I go?
Because I ain't do. You stopping me for no reason.
Oh, okay.
Y'all gonna figure it out. I'm
a little bit.
I'm a homeowner. That's my home right there. That's my rental property right there on the corner.
Okay. Well, all you had to do was talk to us.
I ain't have to talk to y'all. I don't need to talk to y'all. You got me sitting here detained.
Yeah, you're detained.
Coming home.
I'd appreciate it if we worked it out together, but I'm trying to work it out.
I don't have to deal with y'all. At
certain times you do have to.
I don't have to deal with y'all.
At certain times you do,
I don't have to deal with y'all, Mr. McAdams.
Well,
nice to meet you.
So you say you don't know nothing about nothing, you ain't got nothing.
No questions, bro. I'm not answering any questions.
Hey, if you keep yelling like that, you're going to try to find a way to take you to jail. We're not wanting that.
You're going to take me to jail then.
Hey, relax. Come talk to me.
Thank you. Let me go.
He's a turd, ain't he, from over there. But multiple people pointed him out. That's what I got. That he was part of it. That's what he was saying.
I don't want to be bothered. I don't with y'all.
Thank you.
208 Central. My correction, 209 Central. I'm in route to 206. Possibly show me not having a camera.
Go ahead.
209 and 1930.
It's open. Has he identified himself yet?
No, he allowed me to get Billfo out.
Okay. Well, as of right now, he's under arrest for obstruction.
Despite the fact that the officers wanted to talk to Mr. James as a potential witness and victim, they placed him in handcuffs, took his wallet and searched through it, and placed him under arrest for obstruction when he refused to answer any questions. Under Section 5-54-102 of the Arkansas Code, quote, a person commits the offense of obstructing governmental operations if the person knowingly obstructs, impairs, or hinders the performance of any governmental function or falsely identifies himself or herself to a law enforcement officer or a code enforcement officer. However, the statute clarifies that it does not apply to, quote, any means of avoiding compliance with the law not involving affirmative interference with a governmental function or obstruction, impairment, or hindrance of what a person reasonably believes is a public servant's unlawful action. In the 2008 case of Stufflebeam versus Harris, the federal 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, which has jurisdiction over Arkansas, held that the Arkansas obstruction statute does not permit a police officer, quote, to arrest a person for refusing to identify himself when he is not suspected of other criminal activity and his identification is not needed to protect officer safety or to resolve whatever reasonable suspicions prompted the officer to initiate an ongoing traffic stop or Terry stop. In reaching this conclusion, the court reviewed Rule 2.2 of the Arkansas Rules of Criminal Procedure, which states that, quote, a law enforcement officer may request any person to furnish information or otherwise cooperate in the investigation or prevention of crime. The officer may request the person to respond to questions or to comply with any other reasonable request. In making a request, no law enforcement officer shall indicate that a person is legally obligated to furnish information or to otherwise cooperate if no such legal obligation exists. The court concluded that because no provision of Arkansas law created a legal obligation for the citizen involved to identify himself, his refusal to comply with the officer's improper demand did not obstruct a legitimate governmental function within the meaning of the obstruction statute. Still, it should be noted that the court identified 2 stop and identify laws that it implied may create an obligation for an individual to identify themselves in certain situations. First, Rule 3.1 of the Arkansas Rules of Criminal Procedure states that, quote, a law enforcement officer may stop and detain any person who he reasonably suspects is committing, has committed, or is about to commit a felony or a misdemeanor involving danger of forcible injury to persons or of appropriation of or damage to property, if such action is reasonably necessary either to obtain or verify the identification of the person or to determine the lawfulness of his conduct. Similarly, Section 5-71-213 of the Arkansas Code states that an individual who, quote, lingers, remains, or prowls in a public place or the premises of another person without apparent reason and under circumstances that warrant alarm or concern for the safety of persons or property in the vicinity, and upon inquiry by a law enforcement officer, refuses to identify himself or herself and give a reasonably credible account of his or her presence and purpose, can be convicted of loitering. Here, because Mr. James was not suspected of criminal conduct, there was inarguably no obligation to identify himself or answer any other questions. And although the officers were authorized to ask questions and request his cooperation, a court would likely conclude that he could not be arrested for refusing to assist the officers in their investigation.
Go ahead and have a seat. Because you have to identify yourself.
I did. Here's my ID.
Okay, well, once we get to that point, you ain't got to answer no questions to me. You ain't got to talk. I said, listen, you ain't got to talk. You ain't got to answer no questions. You have to identify yourself. All we're trying to do is figure out what happened here. You're supposed to be the victim. You're the one being the and we're trying to help you.
Who's this guy? Camera.
Let me do my job, and then I'll let you know. All right. So bad. Really? Yes, really.
This house right here behind us on the corner, he is just straight up like that every time.
That's fine. It's not against the law to be. Oh, it's fine.
So it's an asshole move to record them, but it's not an asshole move when they shoot us. Unarmed. Fuck you.
Oh, I seen him run to the house.
Yeah, well that gives us the reason to have a conversation with him. So I just need your name just so he's not going to know that. I just need your name.
I'm not worried about what he knows. My kids is they shooting at my house. 220 at the corner.
So what did you see?
Well, I was sitting in my window right here in the living room window, and I was on the phone with her. I had my blinds up. All I seen was a blue Grand Marquis speeder outwards.
Coming out of the
out of the apartment. And then I seen him run that way, but the shots was already going on. I just made sure my kids was down and they was in the back room.
You heard shooting?
Yeah, he was running this way,
and you run
across these people's yard.
Did the car look like It was after him, or? But which way did they turn?
They turned this way.
They come up right behind him.
Yeah.
Then. And then.
And he ran across his yard, and that been over there in the people. Whoever stay over there.
In that gray house in the corner? I think he actually lives there.
He stayed there too. He stayed there too.
Witness Ashley Clark claims she saw Mr. James running away from the scene of the incident, and that it looked like the vehicle was chasing him, making Mr. James a potential victim, but not a potential suspect. As the Supreme Court of Oregon summarized in the 2013 case of State versus Fair, courts that have reviewed the subject have generally determined that, quote, it is reasonable for a law enforcement officer to take an intermediate step that is short of arrest, but that still entails significantly restricting the citizen's freedom to leave in order to question the citizen as a potential witness to or victim of a crime, although the circumstances in which such stops have been found reasonable are sometimes more limited than those that justify stops of criminal suspects. The court concluded that, in appropriate circumstances, it is permissible under Article 1, Section 9 of the Oregon State Constitution, which is nearly identical to the Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, quote, for officers to stop and detain someone for on-the-scene questioning whom they reasonably suspect can provide material information about a crime's commission, because, quote, both potential witnesses to and victims of a crime can be sources of valuable information that can aid officers in the field in making better informed, on-the-spot investigatory decisions about whether and who to temporarily detain or arrest, what leads to pursue, and even which physical or other tangible evidence to gather. Knowing the identity of and the information to be provided by a witness to or a victim of a crime is as fundamental to our criminal justice system as is apprehension of a potential offender. However, it is less clear when an Arkansas court would determine that a witness or victim of a crime may be constitutionally detained. In the 2021 case of Davis versus Dawson, the U.S. District Court in the Southern District of Iowa, which is part of the 8th Circuit, determined that the officers in the case violated the Fourth Amendment by unreasonably detaining several witnesses to a crime, reasoning that, quote, allowing law enforcement officers to detain witnesses against their will when the officers know the witnesses are not suspected of any wrongdoing, the only suspect in the crime they witnessed is already in custody, and there are no exigent circumstances, but nonetheless detain them merely to ask additional questions and to expedite the officer's investigation is precisely the caprice the Fourth Amendment protects against. In reaching this conclusion, the court reasoned that although there may be circumstances that would justify an officer in detaining a witness based on so-called community caretaking concerns, 8th Circuit precedent required that, quote,
how can they have that? Okay, so my problem with this is how can you claim community caretaking when you have no obligation to protect the community? Like, we know they have no obligation to protect the community, so what the fuck is it for? Community caretaking. What the fuck? No, yeah, okay. You can miss me with that bullshit.
Balance the nature and quality of the intrusion on the individual's Fourth Amendment interests against the importance of the governmental interests alleged to justify the intrusion. Because the officers at the scene knew they were, quote, mere witnesses who were not suspected of any criminal conduct, and there were no so-called community concerns that justified the detention of the witnesses because, quote, the only suspect was already in custody, the knife likely used in the attack had been located in the kitchen sink, and the crime scene was secure, the court concluded that the intrusiveness of the detention outweighed the, quote, societal need to secure corroborating statements from the witnesses. Here, although the officers admitted when they stopped Mr. James that they did not suspect him of any wrongdoing, it is still possible that an Arkansas court would conclude that he could be briefly detained based on the so-called community caretaking concern of identifying and apprehending the criminal suspects. But even if a court determined that Mr. James could be legally detained, it would not create a legal obligation for Mr. James to identify himself or otherwise cooperate with the investigation.
He should have assist up in the system because Michael Brown actually did a report for shift one night over there because he was drunk and stupid with this guy drunk and stupid.
Well, all I care about is, does he have warrants for his arrest?
You showed to be clear.
Okay. One, he's now banned from housing. Banned him from housing. I'm trying to decide if we're going to arrest him or not. Did he give you his wallet, or did we take his wallet after we detained him because he's walking away?
We detained him.
We took his wallet.
But he turned and said, there it is, but he got...
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If he doesn't want to identify himself, he's trying to walk away when we have a legal reason to stop.
That's when you grabbed him, man. I thought he's fixing to run. He stays in that gray house, I'm pretty sure.
Do what?
That one stays in the gray house. Yeah, he's a turd. He's had a lot of work. I mean, he's hard to deal with it at all times.
He's a turd,
She said he was already up on his
He's
porch.
a turd,
He's a turd, He jumped off his porch and left
Yeah,
one another way. Then he comes right back up through.
Yeah, to see what's
If
going
he's
on.
a turd, what are you?
They're busy. I'm gonna get you to transport him, do the arrest paperwork. I'll do the narrative and stuff on it.
Hey, you're talking to the lady in the red shirt?
From her.
Yeah, I just got hers. We got the witness that said he info so we can justify why we made contact.
The officers claim that the information they received from Ms. Clark can be used to justify Mr. James's original investigative detention. The Supreme Court held in the 1978 case of Scott versus United States that whether an officer's actions violated the Fourth Amendment, quote, turns on an objective assessment of the officer's actions in light of the facts and circumstances confronting him at the time. However, although reasonable suspicion depends on the objective facts of a situation, courts have consistently concluded that only the facts an officer knew at the time of the detention are relevant to this determination. For instance, in the landmark 1968 case of Terry versus Ohio, the Supreme Court explained that, quote, it is imperative that the facts be judged against an objective standard, with the facts available to the officer at the moment of the seizure warrant a man of reasonable caution in the belief that the action taken was appropriate. Likewise, in the 2019 case of Waters versus Madsen, the Eighth Circuit confirmed that, quote, in determining whether an officer possessed reasonable suspicion to conduct a temporary investigative detention for Terry stop, courts look only at the information the officer possessed at the time. Therefore, a court would almost certainly hold that the details Ms. Clark provided to the officers were not relevant to whether the officers violated the Fourth Amendment, because they did not become aware of the information until after they had detained and arrested Mr. James.
Get yourself involved all that.
Well, this lady here usually gives good info.
He's in the back of the car yelling, let's get him transported out of here, and let's get him banned, get him out of here so we can finish. Just come back here.
Just ban him. Give me a second. I just threw it. I was moving stuff around. I just threw gear in my back seat. Let me move it and make a room for him. All right.
Mr. James was transported to the police station, where he was processed and booked for obstruction. According to Mr. James, the judge that presided over the charge didn't try the case in court, but, quote, placed it under advisement for a year. Mr. James is pursuing a civil lawsuit against the Texarkana Police Department and is being represented by the Hearst Law Group of Hot Springs, Arkansas. As of the date of this episode, the results of both cases are still pending. Overall, the Texarkana officers get an F for treating Mr. James like a criminal suspect when he was actually a potential victim, illegally arresting him for obstruction, for exercising his right to refuse to answer questions, and attempting to justify their unconstitutional actions with information obtained after the fact. The officers also falsely claimed that Mr. James refused to identify himself, even though he was not required to do so, in an attempt to justify his arrest further. Although it is unclear how much the officers knew at the time they detained Mr. James, they made it clear that they never thought he was anything but a potential victim. Instead of treating him with a semblance of respect, they immediately handcuffed and arrested him and repeatedly demonstrated a fundamental misunderstanding of the extent of their authority, Mr. James's constitutional rights, and the crime of obstruction. Mr. James gets an A for maintaining a relatively calm demeanor throughout the interaction, steadfastly refusing to answer questions when he was not required to do so, and pursuing appropriate legal action after being subjected to an illegal arrest. Although Mr. James did use some inflammatory language with the officers, he was well within his First Amendment rights to do so, and the fact that the officers responded to his protests by arresting him does nothing more than further demonstrate these officers' lack of respect for the constitutional rights of the citizens they are meant to protect.
It was never. They never gave a fuck about
knowing
the
his rights and
They
standing up
never
for them,
gave
even when the officers
they
treated
never
him
gave
like
a fuck
criminal
about the
for
Constitution.
simply refusing to
They never gave a
mindlessly
fuck about the
comply with their improper demands. And I wish him the best as he pursues a civil lawsuit against the Texarkana officers for their unacceptable actions. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction content.
These boys.
Looks like there's something in this cave. see if you can get it open with some tape. We'll need everything we can get.
Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers vandalism, photographing minors, and false 911 calls, and was originally posted by Slow County Observer's channel, but was also featured on Lackluster's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On February 16, 2022, First Amendment auditor Slow County Observer, who we will refer to as Mr. Slow, was filming and live streaming from a public sidewalk outside of Peninsula Crane and Rigging in San Jose, California, when the owner of the business, Stanley Alger, approached Mr. Slow and began to question him about his actions.
You're obviously being obnoxious to me by not giving me answers.
I'm actually being pretty polite.
Well,
you're the one yelling at me.
Okay. Well, I want you to explain what your presence and why you're videotaping my yard.
No, I'm not going to tell you anything.
Okay. All right.
This guy with you?
Good night, yes. Oh, well.
Why are you videotaping? This guy just grabbed my camera.
Oh, well.
Broke it. And threw it over there in the bushes. Why are you over here videotaping kids?
You're probably a perv.
This guy right here. This is the one. Grabbed my camera off of it, ripped it off, and threw it in the bushes. Go ahead, call the cops.
I fucking am.
Yeah. You're gonna pay for that camera too.
I ain't fucking doing shit.
You're gonna pay for that camera.
You ain't doing shit.
Look at what he did.
Send you to fucking jail.
You ain't sending me nowhere. You're the one that's going to end up going to jail, if anything.
Mr. Alger grabs Mr. Slow's camera and throws it into the bushes, damaging it in the process. According to Section 594 of the California Penal Code, an individual commits the crime of vandalism if they quote-unquote maliciously deface, damage, or destroy any real or personal property that is not their own. Section 7 of the California Penal Code explains that the word maliciously imports, quote, a wish to vex, annoy, or injure another person, or an intent to do a wrongful act, established either by proof or presumption of law. There has been some debate as to whether vandalism in California is a so-called general intent crime, which means that a prosecutor only has to prove that a criminal defendant intended to do the act that causes the harm, or a so-called specific intent crime, where the prosecutor must prove that a criminal defendant intended to cause the harm itself. As the Eastern District of California explained in the 2013 case of Villar versus County of Yolo, it is unclear from the text of the statute whether vandalism is truly a specific intent crime, and district courts are split on the issue. However, the 4th District Court of Appeal of California more recently held in the 2018 case of People versus Moore that, quote, although no published case has specifically addressed whether vandalism is a general or specific intent crime, a number of cases have concluded that other crimes requiring malice or maliciousness require only general criminal intent. The vandalism statute itself does not require any intent besides the intent to do the prescribed acts of defacing, damaging, or destroying property. The term maliciously does not import any further specific intent or mental state. Thus, the vandalism statute defines a general intent crime with no specific knowledge or mental state. In this situation, while it is clear that Mr. Alger can grab and throw the camera, it is less clear whether he specifically intended to damage the camera or simply stop Mr. Slow from recording, which most California courts have concluded that vandalism is a general intent crime. It is likely that Mr. Alger could be convicted for vandalism because he intentionally performed the action that caused the damage to the camera. But if a court took the view that vandalism required a specific intent to cause the damage, Mr. Alger could potentially try to defend himself by arguing that he did not intend to break the camera, he was just trying to remove it from Mr. Slow's reach.
Sound emergency, how may I help you?
Oh yes, good morning. My name is Dan. My company is Peninsula Crane and Rigging. Can you send an officer to 6560 Will Creek Drive? I have a suspicious person who is videotaping my property and somewhere they won't explain himself.
How long is the person there?
Thank you very much, ma'am.
How long has he been there? Hello?
This is Dan.
Oh, hi, Stan. This is San Jose Police. Is that gentleman still there?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
To move.
Okay, where is he at on the property?
He is videotaping my property from the sidewalk.
So he's on the sidewalk. Okay, I understand. But he's in front of the business, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And does he have any weapons?
No, he has camera. Christine is approximately 5'8" to 10. He has a light dark black beard and with sunglasses. He's wearing a black hoodie and jeans.
And how long has he been out there?
I don't know, but he's bought videotaping and so forth, and when I asked him to cease and desist, he refused and won't identify who he is. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, how do you spell your last name, sir? I can't spell it. Hello? Hello?
Yeah,
Emergency?
Hi, I need a police officer dispatched, please, to 656 Wool Creek Drive immediately. Huh?
What's going on there?
There's a man out here who is standing on the sidewalk. He keeps taking pictures of the kids at the school across the street. He looks like he's got something in his back pocket. It almost looks like a gun. Someone needs to get out here right now.
So okay, so we've already got the call there, and I want you to slow down for a minute. What makes you guys think it's a gun in the back pocket?
I don't know. It's funny. It's got something that looks like a handle. I'm just saying, I'm not getting close enough to the front of the
Okay,
So where are the officers?
Ma'am, they're going to be on the way. What color is the handle?
It's black. Please, just hurry. I've got to go.
My question is, how many people have they killed?
Mr. Alger tells the 911 operator Mr. Slow is taking pictures across from a school, and when his employee called 911, he alleged that Mr. Slow is taking pictures of the children at the school. In addition to Mr. Slow might have a gun. We will discuss a firearm later in this episode. Although it's unclear whether Mr. Slow was photographing the children or the school at any point, it's generally not illegal to take pictures or film anyone or anything that can be seen from a public vantage point, even if the subject of the photography is children and their parents have not consented. The courts have repeatedly held that such photography is protected by the First Amendment. For instance, State versus Oatman, the Court of Appeals of Wisconsin overturned the statute that registered sex offenders from photographing, filming, and capturing other visual representations of children without their parents' consent as constitutionally overbroad. Reaching this conclusion, the court looked to the 2002 case of Ashcroft versus Free Speech Coalition, where the U.S. Supreme Court held that obscene material which is depict minors, but is produced by means other than real children, such as through the use of computer imaging technology, was protected by the First Amendment because it did not harm any children in the collection of building reasoning. The Oakland Court concluded that, quote, children are not harmed by non-obscene photographs taken in public places. While it is understandable to dislike the fact that someone might have objections or thoughts when ordinary images of children, the state is constitutionally prohibited from precluding citizens from creating such images. Therefore, even if Mr. Slow had been photographing the children at the school sidewalk, his First Amendment right to do so has been firmly established, even if others found it to be unsettling or inappropriate. However, it is important to note that in some circumstances, such behavior could give a police officer reasonable suspicion to conduct a Terry stop on individual photographs.
Emergency, how may I help you? Yes, you guys need to send a police officer, or more than one. There's a gentleman out in our yard with a gun, I believe. Any address? 656 Wool Creek.
Is that a house or an apartment?
It's in a business.
And the name of the business?
Peninsula Crane.
And he has a gun where?
It looks like he has a gun.
Where?
I'm telling you what, if you guys don't come in
ma'am,
minutes, I'm calling all the stations.
Ma'am,
what?
A gun where?
In his bag.
Okay, one moment.
Hurry up.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just called the police. This guy was called twice about 20 minutes ago. Yeah. That guy right there broke my camera off my stand right here and threw it in the bushes over there.
Am I just gonna sit here and still talk? Yeah, that's something that's not. You know what? Let's max block.
I'm just trying to be safe, okay? That way we can deal with this appropriately, okay? So just relax. You have to I'm gonna pat search you for what? There's a report cup? No, I'm gonna pat search you. Okay? Well, I just gotta make sure. We're obviously, they might have exaggerated, but that's what we're here to figure out. Well, that's what it sounds like. So, You don't know them at all? You're just recording? Okay. They called in a guy with a gun. They got this one. I don't know, man. I don't know. I know one of our guys says it's not too bad.
I'll do a little damage.
Find out what email they call them here for this kind of response. So we'll go and try to find out. Go ahead. Who called the police and said someone had a gun? Okay, well, we need you to come outside and talk to us. No one said, everyone out here saying that nobody said he had a gun, and that's a very serious accusation.
It looked like he had a gun in his back pocket. That's why I'm terrified with the
Man, my problem too with this whole situation, if you're the one calling, is why are you hanging up on our call takers?
I was coming out here to see what was going on.
Okay, then you cannot generate a response like that and hang up on our call takers. It's so far from okay. It's just ridiculous. If you were that scared, why would you keep coming back outside?
I didn't come outside. I came here to watch what was
You
going
stay on the phone with our call takers if you call 911.
One of the officers reprimands the employee who called 911 for actions. He does not arrest her for any criminal offense, despite the fact that he may have had arguable probable cause to do so. Section 148.3 of the California Penal Code makes it a misdemeanor offense for an individual to report emergency to the government if they know that the report is false, and a felony offense to report a false emergency if they know or should know that the response to the report is likely to cause death or great bodily injury, and great bodily injury or death is sustained by any false report. The statute includes in the definition of emergency as, quote, any condition that results in the response of a public official in an authorized emergency. It also states that, quote, any individual convicted of violating this section based upon a report that resulted in an emergency response is liable to a public agency for the reasonable costs of the emergency response by that public agency. Further, falsely claiming that Mr. Slow had a gun could also be a violation of Section 148.5 of the California Penal Code, which makes it a misdemeanor offense for an individual to report to a 911 operator that a felony or misdemeanor has been committed if the caller knows the report is false. While carrying a gun is not necessarily fine, under the Gun-Free School Zone Act of 1995, which is codified in Section 626.9 of the California Penal Code, possessing a firearm in a quote-unquote school zone, which is defined as, quote, an area in or on the grounds of a public or private school providing instruction in kindergarten, grades 1 to 12, inclusive or within a distance of 1,000 feet from the grounds of the public or private school, is a criminal offense that is punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Therefore, it could be argued that claiming that Mr. Slow had a gun or taking pictures of the school children constituted the report that Mr. Slow possessed a firearm in a school zone. It's important to note that to sustain a conviction under Section 148.3 or 148.5 based on a one call, the prosecutor must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the callers knew their report was false. Individuals who are charged with these crimes can defend themselves by arguing that they were simply mistaken about the facts. In this situation, the caller was careful to always say that she believed or thought that Mr. Slow had a firearm, or that it looked like he had one. So if she was charged with either of these offenses, she would likely use this defense to argue that she genuinely believed he had a weapon. However, that does not mean that she would succeed in her defense. There are certain factors
Hit him with the fire.
that she was lying to provoke a police response, such as the fact that she said that the gun was in Mr. Slow's back pocket in her first call and in his bag in her second call. Ultimately, the decision would depend on how a judge or jury interpreted the facts of the case.
And where were you standing there? On the sidewalk? He's on the sidewalk. Okay, so he has a
Yes, he has the right to be on the sidewalk.
Oh, Jesus Christ, where did that right come from?
Yes, you're in public view.
Okay. But does he have a right to not identify himself?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Have to identify himself.
There we go.
First Amendment right.
One down.
First Amendment right to record. There's nothing wrong with recording. If you don't want to be recorded, you can go inside.
You should have an execute for when they're down.
Put my hand over, stop, so forth. Close and hit one. Close that. Close back.
Come here, you ain't running.
After one of the officers issued Mr. Alger a criminal citation for vandalism, the officers eventually left the scene with no further incidents or arrests. Although the officer informed Mr. Alger that his court date was scheduled for April 15, 2022, and could not locate any criminal cases against Mr. Alger in a publicly available
$6K help, that's not bad.
So it's unclear whether he was convicted of the offense or if the case is still. Overall, the San Jose officers get an A for treating Mr. Slow with respect and maintaining clear communication while searching for a weapon, strongly supporting Mr. Slow's right to film in public, confronting and reprimanding the woman who falsely reported that Mr. Slow had a firearm. Although it is arguable that the 911 caller could have been arrested for his actions, her statements were ambiguous enough that the officers could reasonably have decided there was no probable cause to make an arrest. And I would not fault them for reaching that conclusion. In the course of this encounter, the officers ensured that everyone on the scene was safe, cited Mr. Alger for damaging Mr. Slow's camera, confirmed that both Mr. Alger and his employee understood the law and the First Amendment rights, and allowed Mr. Slow to film. I commend them for resolving a tense encounter without resorting to force or otherwise needlessly escalating the situation. I encourage other law enforcement officers to follow their example. Mr. Slow also gets an A for maintaining a calm and respectful demeanor throughout the encounter, communicating with the officers, and complying with their orders when they arrived on the scene, standing up for his right to film when faced with verbal attacks, multiple 911 calls, and damage to his camera. Mr. Alger and his employee, on the other hand, get an F for abusing the 911 emergency system, demonstrating a clear disregard for Mr. Slow's First Amendment rights, his property, and his physical safety, and essentially lying about a firearm to incite a larger police response. Claiming that a suspicious individual has a gun outside a school is a serious accusation. It does not require a stretch of the imagination to conclude that the 911 caller knew the implication of her actions. This situation is similar to so-called swatting, which is a form of harassment where individuals make false reports of serious crimes in order to send a substantial
oh my god, I thought I was gonna hit him.
To another person's address. Here, it seems that both Alger and his employee attempted to summon a faster and more powerful police response by progressively escalating the frantic nature of the 911 calls and the severity of the allegations when officers did not arrive on the scene quickly enough for their liking. By claiming that he had a weapon, the 911 caller put Mr. Slow's life and safety in jeopardy. If a different officer had arrived on the scene first, this interaction may have had a much more unfortunate ending. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction. Welcome to Audit the Audits, where we sort out the who,
just hold it,
just hold it, police infractions. This episode covers trespassing, public forums, and the right to film, and is brought to us by News Now South Carolina's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. In a YouTube video posted on January 15th, 2020, auditor DJ Gear began to film the Odell Oil Company in Belton, South Carolina, while walking around a grass shoulder located just outside the property. While Mr. Gear did not step onto the oil company's property, he filmed through a chain-link fence, despite no trespassing signs that prohibited photographing and otherwise recording the facility. After Mr. Gear filmed for a few minutes, two individuals stepped out of an oil company building, walked over to the fence, and began to speak to Mr. Gear.
The whole facility, well, both of them really. Get some information on them. I'm sorry, brother, I can't hear you. A whole lot of information, honestly. A whole lot of it. Say what? Oh, no. I didn't have any questions about it towards y'all. I can kind of find out what I need out this way. Who are you? Operator here, what's your name? I understand that. You have your name? Okay, I was just asking. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Inside the fence, bitch. You said what I need pictures for? Well, I can't say it right now because it's not published. But you can call the people. That's fine. Okay. I'll be along the way somewhere. I'll be along the road somewhere. I did drive. I'm a step ahead of everybody. But I'll be along here somewhere. I'm not leaving. I'm just walking. I promise I'll be in the area. And when they come out, can y'all come back out, please? Thank you. So he didn't want to give his name. He didn't want to give his name. But we're here. This is private property, but that is a public utility right here and there. But they're gonna call the police. So we're gonna hang out until they call them and see how this goes.
One of the oil company employees informs Mr. Gear that they are on private property, seemingly implying that Mr. Gear cannot film it, and Mr. Gear reminds him that only the land inside the fence is private property. Under Section 16-11-620 of the South Carolina Code of Laws, an individual commits trespassing if they enter into the dwelling house, place of business, or on the premises of another person after having been warned not to do so, or if they fail and refuse to leave immediately upon being ordered or requested to do so by the person in possession or their agent or representative. However, this statute only applies to physical intrusions onto property, and as long as Mr. Gear remains on public property, he could not be charged with trespassing for simply filming private property, even though the oil company's no trespassing signs prohibited recording the facility. While a no trespassing sign can serve as notice that entry to a property is forbidden, it cannot transform an otherwise legal activity into a criminal offense by simply claiming that such conduct is forbidden. Likewise, the fact that the oil company claimed that filming was prohibited using a no trespassing sign does not make filming activities on the property trespassing, because the actions that constitute trespassing are determined by state law and not an individual property owner's preferences. Therefore, a court would almost certainly conclude that Mr. Gear was not breaking any laws by filming the activities occurring on private property from a public vantage point.
So they decided to send somebody out here to talk to me, right? That's about to start raining. I wonder if he's gonna get out the vehicle. It's gonna start raining. It's the crazy part. So I'm actually going to get soaking wet. But I'm in Belton, South Carolina at the oil company on a road here, 33 feet from the center line of the road. I have their property line in my phone. And there are public utilities all right here. Some are in their property, some are right here, which is outside of the fence, and their trespassing signs are on the fence, which is beyond me.
Gear informs his audience that he has the oil company's property line on him. He later states that he reviewed the GIS data before coming to this, that he has remained outside the borders of the oil company's property while recording. GIS, or Geographic Information Systems data, is any information that is derived from a computer system that is specifically designed to capture, store, and display data associated with geographic locations on Earth's surface. According to the National Geographic Resource Library, quote, many different types of information can be compared and contrasted using GIS. For instance, a system can include data about people, such as population, income, education, information about the landscape, location of streams, different kinds of vegetation, and different kinds of soil, and information about the sites of factories, farms, schools, storm drains, roads, and electric power lines. In the U.S., some amount of GIS data is publicly available online for most states. GIS data from Anderson County, South Carolina, where the oil is located, includes the parcel divisions of land and property owners. It shows that the oil company's property line appears to align with the fences, just as Mr. Gear argued.
Pick up your buddy down here in the truck. All right, brother, how you doing? I'm trying to figure out why this is here, and I can figure it out. But you know, you're gonna take my picture also. That's totally fine. And whether or not you can get it, that's the thing on the camera. But that guy here just followed me around, and then you came out here to take my picture. If you turn your phone the other way, you get a better picture. Turn it sideways. No, turn your phone sideways. That's right. I can't. But I'm trying to figure out where y'all follow me. It's like nobody understands the rights that I have granted to me under the First Amendment. That's what's crazy. tax money to fix the road. So my tax dollars, your tax dollars.
Get out. Get out. Get out.
I mean, that's fine. Yeah, I don't want to go there. I don't mind going there. If I want to walk all the way to that pole and record the property, I can because that's for the city. For that city property.
Mr. Gear claims that because the city owns the property poles, they indicate that he is on public property. While it seems that Mr. Gear is correct that he is on public property based on GIS data, it is important to note that the government does not have to actually possess the title to a parcel of land in order to place a road or public utility on a public right-of-way. The South Carolina Department of Transportation right-of-way acquisition manual explains that government rights-of-way can be obtained via several different methods, such as obtaining title to the real property itself or acquiring an easement, which grants the public the right to use the road while the property owner maintains the title to the parcel. The government can also acquire a utility easement that allows it to run utilities, such as power lines, over private property. Therefore, while some utility poles may be placed on government-owned property, they cannot be used as a reliable indicator as to whether or not an individual is standing on public property. As we have discussed many times on ATA, public rights-of-ways, such as streets and sidewalks, are considered to be, as the Supreme Court described in the 1990 case of United States versus Coquinda, quote, quintessential examples of a public forum to which the public generally has unconditional access, and which are immemorially been held in trust for the use of the public, and can be used for purposes of assembly, communicating thoughts between citizens, and discussing public questions. The court went on to explain that, quote, public parks, streets, and sidewalks are public forums because open access by all members of the public is integral to their function as central gathering places and arteries of transportation. For the most part, on streets and sidewalks, communication between citizens can be permitted according to the principle that one who is rightfully on a street which the state has left open to the public carries with him, as elsewhere, the constitutional right to express his views in an orderly fashion. In this situation, because the area directly surrounding a paved road is generally considered to be part of the street in First Amendment analysis, it is probable that a court would determine that the public property from which Mr. Gear was filming was also a public forum.
I don't mean anybody no harm. I don't have my gun on me. My gun's in the car. Huh? My intentions is, I just want, again, I don't see these every day, so I stopped to take pictures of all these big oil wells here because I don't see them every day. But it's like people are freaking out about it over a camera.
Well, it's kind of touchy.
But y'all have cameras all over y'all facility.
Oh, we do.
So how is my camera any different from your camera? I have no problem with that. I don't. I'd be more than glad to talk to you.
Okay.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you. Hey, did they call you out here? They did? Along this public easement here? And I was taking pictures this way, that way, and back here, and they freaked out. They completely freaked out about it. And they was like, well, I'm gonna call the police. I said, that's fine. I don't mind talking because there's no crime being committed here. They freaked the hell out. These guys here. That guy right there. Hey, come over here, buddy. Yeah, you. Come here, please. I just need you to inform him of the First Amendment that I'm allowed to record here in public, and I can be on my way. That's all I need from you, Officer Parker. Can you please just inform him of my rights through the First Amendment, and I'm on my way. I'm sure y'all have been prompt on it because we sued Anderson a long time ago. I don't mean any hurt, harm, or danger by it, but these guys here completely freaked the hell out, and I don't know why. I just need him to be informed of my First Amendment rights. What is poison? I'm gonna come across the road, and I gotta get it on film that you told him for my protection. That's all. I told y'all I was coming back, but I ain't want to be rude. I just want to be informed and hear from someone else. I'm completely allowed to do what I'm doing. I'm allowed to. I tried to tell you that so we can be cordial the first time you saw me. And I was cordial. No, I told you that I'm allowed to do what I'm doing. It's all on camera. I can run it back. It's all on camera. You'll see it on YouTube later, I promise. I'm allowed to do what I do. That's all it is. And I wanted her to come tell you because I didn't want you to think I was being a jerk about it. It's completely legal. And y'all have to understand that while in public, you can be filmed. There's no expectation of privacy at all, buddy. At all. And build a brick wall. Can't do anything about it. I tried to tell you that, but y'all wasted resources.
Deputy Parker of the Anderson County Sheriff's Department arrives on the scene and informs the oil company employees that as long as Mr. Gear did not enter their property, he was well within his rights to film anything that he can capture from public property. Although the Supreme Court has not explicitly ruled that individuals have a First Amendment right to film or photograph in public, it is long held that expressive conduct, such as communicative photography, is protected speech under the First Amendment. In the 1989 case of Texas versus Johnson, the Supreme Court explained that although the First Amendment only directly forbids the government from abridging the freedom of speech, quote, we have long recognized that its protection does not end with spoken or written word. However, this does not mean the courts will conclude that all photography and filming is protected under the First Amendment. For instance, in the 2005 case of Porat versus Lincoln Towers Community Association, the Southern District of New York held that, quote, purely private recreational non-communicative photography was not protected by the First Amendment because, quote, it is well established that in order to be protected under the First Amendment, images must communicate some idea. Without an element of expression, there is no risk to the speaker or creator of art that his or her ideas or messages will be unlawfully distinguished in contravention of the First Amendment. Similarly, in the 2010 case of Larson versus Fort Wayne Police Department, the Northern District of Indiana stated, quote, the First Amendment is not implicated because a person uses a camera, but rather when that camera is used as a means of engaging in protected expressive conduct, or less common, to gather information about what public officials do on public property. Because Mr. Gear indicated he was filming a publication, the courts would likely conclude that he was engaging in expressive conduct that is protected by the First Amendment, and that because he was filming in a public forum, that the state could not restrict his filming unless the restriction served a compelling state interest and was narrowly tailored to meet the needs of that interest.
How you doing, brother? I'm all right, thank you. I'm David, by the way. Thank you. It is. That's why I'm out here, actually. I'm about to go jump on my bike. I just tried to help these two gentlemen out here, and they didn't want to understand me, so they called this sweet officer out here and wasted resources when they could have asked me the same question, and I gave them the same answer, but they didn't want to listen. So now they're on the internet looking like fools because I tried to tell them. And those weren't my intentions. I tried to walk away, but then I saw her pulling up, and I figured that they called and wasted her sweet time out here. Sorry you had to come out here, officer. Oh, I won't. And I told them, I have their property line on my phone. I checked the GIS survey.
Take it nice and slow.
There are no trespassing prior notice starts on the other side of that fence. I have no plans of breaching their property.
You can take this boat. It's my ticket lessons.
Fellas, I'm sorry about the misunderstanding, but at least now you understand.
Go ahead.
Thank y'all.
Shortly after completing his conversation with Officer Parker and the oil company employee on a pleasant note and walking away from the oil company fence, Mr. Gear stopped filming. There was no indication that any additional incidents occurred after Mr. Gear stopped filming or that he intends to take any further action regarding the interaction. Overall, Deputy Parker gets an A+ for maintaining a professional demeanor throughout the encounter, upholding and enforcing the protections of the First Amendment, and respectfully educating the oil company employees about Mr. Gear's right to film on public property. Even though there was no criminal activity occurring, Deputy Parker took the time to address the workers' concerns and clearly articulate what conduct would violate the trespassing law. The workers demonstrated an obvious misunderstanding of the state's trespassing law and the First Amendment, and instead of expressing irritation or anger at being unnecessarily called to the scene, Deputy Parker decided to be proactive and correct the employees' misconceptions. By explaining the contours of the state trespassing laws and the First Amendment right to film, Deputy Parker turned what otherwise would have been an unproductive interaction into a learning opportunity, and hopefully the employees will have a better understanding of the law as a result of this interaction and avoid needlessly calling the police over non-criminal matters in the future. I commend Deputy Parker for not only knowing the law and upholding it, but also choosing to educate citizens about it. Mr. Gear gets an A, because although he expressed a partially incorrect argument about the utility poles, he remained controlled and respectful throughout the encounter, did not attempt to escalate the situation or provoke anyone involved, and did not yield his right to film despite interference from the oil company employees. It should also be noted that Mr. Gear made use of the available GIS data to do the appropriate research before coming to film, and ensured that he did not cross the oil company property line or otherwise violate the law. Unfortunately, auditors sometimes fail fail to adequately prepare themselves for their auditing activities, and then, because of their lack of knowledge about the law or factual information, such as property lines, engage in criminal or otherwise illegal conduct while attempting to conduct an audit. Not only does this put the auditor at risk of arrest, it also undermines the credibility of the entire auditor community in the minds of the officers involved in such an encounter.
Yeah, but they
I would
never
encourage
thought
other auditors
strong
and
about the
constitutional
community
activists
anyway,
to learn
so
from Mr.
they don't
Gears'
like
example
you, so
and make sure to do
why care?
whatever
Why
research
care?
is
Why
necessary to
care?
ensure that they remain in compliance
But then
with
again,
the law
I'm
throughout their
combative.
encounters with the police.
I'm very
Let us know if
combative. I'm
there's an
not here to be your
interaction or a
friend.
legal
I'm not
topic
here
you would like
to
us
be
to discuss in the
nice. I'm
comments
not here
below.
for none
Thank
of
you for
that shit.
watching, and don't
I'm
forget
here
to
to be
check out my
combative.
second channel for even
I'm not
more
here to be
police
nice
interaction
to you.
content.
I'm not here to be nice to you. And I don't give a good goddamn if I'm nice to you or not. Like, you're not nice to us. You're not nice to us. You're not. You're not nice to us. You're disrespectful as fuck to us. And you kill us with no fucking regard for humanity or anything. So why should I be nice to you? Why should I be fair to you? Why should I do any of that shit, honestly? Like for real, why? Good cops, you can suck my ass.
Okay, just a quick update about the West Virginia's most ignorant cop case out of Nicholas County, West Virginia. That's the case where my client was pulled over for flashing his lights to warn oncoming traffic about a speed trap. As I explained in that video, which really was an awful video and it went viral. As I explained, it wasn't illegal, but despite what he did not being illegal, he ended up convicted. So here's the big update, which will be explained more fully in a long format video, maybe tomorrow, but certainly the next couple of days. So we appealed it. I brought in another lawyer and you'll get to meet him. And he appealed it. He had the bench trial today and won today before the court. So stay tuned for all the details, but now we're ready to go.
Kick their ass. Seriously, kick their ass. They deserve it.
Okay, just a quick update about the West Virginia's most ignorant cop.
They do metaphorically, because we can't be violent to them, but they can be violent to us. Metaphorically, of course.
I'm not nice, and I don't seek to be respectable. I'm not asking y'all for anything because y'all can't and won't be both my savior and my oppressor. I don't want reform. I want to turn this building into luxury, low-cost housing. These will make some really nice apartments to me. Firstly, stop using black children as photo opportunities because they're cute now, but in 10 years, they're black male suspect in red shirts and khaki shorts. Eating cookies and drinking milk with children does not absolve you of your complicity in their oppression and denigration, Rick Smith. Because Kansas City will spend more on police than education and then try to encourage children to feast with their oppressors. Y'all are really weird.
But right now we're talking about priorities. If 40% of the city council budget goes to the police, where's the rest of the money for actual safety, genuine safety for our communities and our students?
As a teacher, breaking up fights is something I'm expected to do with my bare hands. So I'd really appreciate if we could hold our community safety officers to a higher standard.
Ensures that if the council approves this policy, more black and brown disabled people will suffer serious physical harm and psychological trauma at the hands of police.
And how many people were injured during the George Floyd protest or even early on the Stephon Clark protest?
All of you are adults. Adults, right? You can drive, you can drink, you can vote. I don't have that. When I asked my mom if I could be dropped off here, her response was, "Is it safe? Is it safe?" You know, we had someone come up here and talk, don't teach our children to disobey those who are protecting us. I don't see them protecting me. If you want to talk about those protecting me, I look to those who are standing right now because my trust isn't in them.
You tell us.
I don't trust any of you. I don't trust any of the police officers because you have shown time and time again that we cannot trust you. I go to City High Middle School, just voted the top high school in the state. You know what they teach us? Teach us to speak up for yourself. We're IB learners, right? We're smart. None of you are smart. None of you can recognize murderers.
They obviously
You can identify that there is a problem, but you cannot fix it.
This is my public comment for a city council meeting, well, now October 3rd, 2022. Defund Newton Police Department. They are a violent, civil and human rights violating organization who do not make your community safer. They're also pro-domestic abuse because they are currently employing a domestic abuser and choosing to not release the records about that domestic abuser.
You're out of order, sir. Stop.
No, I'm not.
You are out of order.
As I was saying.
Chief?
No, I'm speaking my 3-minute period.
Your 3-minute period is ceased.
It is not ceased. Because I'm going to be speaking my 3-minute period to voice my criticisms about the government. Yes, and I have 3 minutes to give the government some criticism.
He's told you to leave.
Okay, I'm not leaving until... Are my 3 minutes up?
He's told you to leave.
I'm not leaving.
Okay. You want to be arrested?
Sure, arrest me.
Okay. Place your hands behind the
Arrest me for speaking my First Amendment rights. Go ahead. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
So I'm not here begging anything of soulless white folks and self-preserving black folks. You get one life, and you all in this room have chosen profits over people, and that's pathetic. So I'm going to spend the next 2 minutes reading y'all for a filth, something I'm sure nobody has ever done. Nathan, the gentleman in the vomit-colored men's warehouse suit in desperate need of Bosley and a haircut, a former FBI agent who exudes white privilege and is the epitome of mediocrity, and who loves Trump so much that he hired his former attorney general at his firm. And it's so sweet because he spent most of this meeting looking away with his head in his hands.
These are just some of the pictures of the bruises and marks that were left on me by SAC PD. I wasn't rioting, I wasn't looting or breaking the law, and our police department still felt that they needed to beat me so badly that I missed a whole week of work. And sadly, I'm one of the lucky ones. This is Danny Garza. He was targeted and shot in the head with rubber bullets, and he's still suffering from brain damage today.
I am frustrated, and frustrated can't even begin how absolutely terrified I am to live here. I'm expected to raise my kids here. I'm expected to go outside and walk my 5-year-old little brother. God forbid we look too scary. God forbid he accidentally is wearing his hood and we get the police called on us because we are window shopping to go steal later.
It's all they have. It's all they have. They have nothing else. It's all they have. They have nothing else in this
NBC News is reporting that the anti-Semites who Trump dined with, including Nick Fuentes and Kanye West, were actually setting him up, trolling him. At least that's what the anti-Semites claim. Now, do we buy it? Let's get to the details and we'll figure this all out. Now, Trump received a lot of backlash, as we know, for having this dinner with these anti-Semites in the first place, and he immediately jumped to damage control. Now, Nick Fuentes, though, says this about the dinner. He told this to NBC News, quote, "We saw everybody in the dining room get up and start applauding, and then the president entered. He greeted us, and he invited Ye into dinner, and Ye said he wanted to bring us with him to the table. So we walked in, and Ye took some pictures with some of the guests in the dining room, and then we sat down at the table." Now, Trump apparently, according to this NBC News report, made sure they sat at his specially reserved table on the patio for all to see, according to Fuentes. Okay. Well, we all saw, so congratulations on that. Trump advisors, though, who spoke to NBC, think that this is all part of a setup. Okay, so one longtime Trump advisor who doesn't have, you know, the cojones to go on record, who didn't want to go on the record criticizing his preferred candidate, said it was clear that Fuentes' presence was part of a headline-grabbing setup. The master troll got trolled, the advisor said. Kanye punked Trump. And that's your preferred candidate, the guy who got punked by Kanye West and Nick Fuentes? Okay, let me continue. As advisors to Trump have attempted to quell the backlash, some have insisted that the former president was essentially tricked by the rapper and his guests, a suspicion backed by Milo Yiannopoulos, the anti-Trump far-right provocateur who is now acting as a political advisor to Ye. Yeah, someone who defended pedophilia, serving as a political advisor. Great decision there. Now, Yiannopoulos said that he was the, quote, architect of the plan to have Fuentes travel with Ye in the hopes of slipping him into the dinner with Trump. The intent, according to Yiannopoulos, was for Fuentes to give Trump an unvarnished view of how a portion of his base views his candidacy. And so how do they view his candidacy? Yiannopoulos told NBC News this: I wanted to show Trump the kind of talent that he's missing out on by allowing his terrible handlers to dictate who he can and can't hang out with. I also wanted to send a message to Trump that he has systematically, repeatedly neglected, ignored, abused the people who love him the most, the people who put him in office. And that kind of behavior comes back to bite you in the end. So, more details on this, but I'm dying to know, Cenk. Are you buying this? Do you think that this was
Let them fight.
To troll Trump?
I am a raging
I'm not buying it 1%, not at all.
You'll get
okay.
over it.
But
I guess I am. I guess I am. Honestly, I guess I'm a raging leftist.
If it was true, then Trump is even dumber. So your
Trump
Trump advisors are putting out to NBC News, of all places, okay, saying, now remember, our boss is an idiot and didn't do any fact checking of who he was having dinner with, even though he's a former president of the United States and currently running for president.
Like,
And
my thing
he,
is,
got tricked by
how
Kanye
could you
West,
not know?
who is
How can you not know?
Obviously, one of the dumbest.
First and foremost, how could
Kanye
Secret
West
Service
in
not
interview said
know?
he doesn't understand numbers. Okay, so you got tricked by that guy. You got tricked by the village idiot, right? And so how does that help your cause? But the reason I don't believe it is because Kanye is the village idiot, and so the idea of him tricking anyone, I mean, tricking Kanye West. The guy is like IQ 7. It's not in the double digits. If you told him, hey, let's go trick, he wouldn't even understand what you're talking about. He's one of the most painfully stupid people I've ever seen in public life.
Well, Milo's claiming he's the architect.
So, okay, that's a little bit more believable. Milo's an evil guy, but not quite as dumb as Kanye or Trump, okay?
Dumb enough to defend pedophilia on Rogan's podcast.
Which didn't get him back until now. Kanye's brought him back and Trump has brought him back. Congratulations, you guys must be so proud. Okay, and it does go along with the right-wing promoting groups, which, I mean, that's why Milo got driven out. Because he did a pro-groomer segment on Rogan, okay? So anyways, but back to the so-called trick. How is this a trick? So you get Trump to seem like he's in cahoots with you guys. How are you going to win? How does that make you more popular? How does that make him less popular? Is the trick, we got you to be as unpopular as us, and that's why we're going to win the election against you? That doesn't make any sense at all.
So Yiannopoulos said he arranged the dinner, quote, just to make Trump's life miserable because news of the dinner would leak and Trump would mishandle it. No, this is so fun. So Milo is saying, we acknowledge that we are such awful, terrible people that this would lead to backlash for Trump. And so we ensured that the awful Nick Fuentes was at this dinner so Trump would get the backlash and he'd mishandle it. Like, the admission, the inherent admission there that's baked in is incredible.
That's a brilliant point by Anna. But like, it's amazing to me that people don't understand concepts like that. So Milo is saying, by definition, we're so toxic that even being in the same room as us will do tremendous damage to you. And that's why we're going to win the election?
Amazing.
And remember, Milo is now Kanye's campaign manager. So he thinks this is going to help Kanye. But remember, there is one person in the room that is actually playing everyone, and it is Milo. Does he think Kanye can win? Of course not. Of course not. Does he know that as a guy who was a pedophilia advocate, He's not going to be the campaign manager for the winning presidential candidate. Of course. Does he? I mean, literally, he has a pedophile advocate, a racist, and an anti-Semite walk into a meeting with Trump.
Yep.
Right? But I think that all Milo is doing is trying to get back in the game. And
1000%, yes.
And so he's not just burning Trump, he's burning Kanye.
He doesn't care.
And he doesn't care at all. But to be fair to Milo, I mean, look, who wouldn't rob Kanye? And who wouldn't rob Trump? They're the two dumbest people in America.
You know who wouldn't? People like us.
I know, because we're too moral. But I tell you, look, given all the
morality
terrible things
is
they've
over.
done, put me in a room with them. I'll walk out with $1 billion before you know
honestly.
If he has
like morality is just overstated.
That's the problem.
I mean, I don't know if you heard, Kanye says that Jewish people froze his bank accounts after he didn't pay his taxes.
What a moron. What a moron. Doesn't understand anything in the world.
Now, final part about this is Trump's reaction, okay? Because apparently Trump fumed afterward because he felt that Ye had betrayed him by ambushing him with Nick Fuentes at this dinner. And he said, quote, "He tried to F me. He's crazy. He can't beat me," Trump said, according to one confidant who then relayed the conversation to NBC News on the condition of anonymity to discuss private conversations. So, look, this wouldn't stand up in a court of law. That's hearsay. But do I think Trump said it? Yeah, I do. Especially that one part, he can't beat me.
100%, Anna. See, that's why mainstream media drives me crazy. And this is not even about politics. Like, do you guys not understand what Trump is mad about? Trump isn't mad that Kanye is an anti-Semite. He's declared after dinner that he had said nothing anti-Semitic. He isn't mad that Fuentes is racist. He never denounced Fuentes at all, right? He's had 1,000 opportunities. It's been a week. He still hasn't denounced Fuentes. He hasn't denounced Milo. He hasn't denounced any of them. Okay, so
but why
the thing that Trump is upset about is that Kanye asked him to be his VP.
Right?
You have two dum-dums talking to one another. They both live in a completely alternate reality.
That's wild, though.
Kanye's like, okay,
be my VP.
I'm so obviously going to become president.
Be my VP.
Trump, you want to be my VP? And Trump, meanwhile, was like,
how dare you?
Why? Because
Exactly.
he's anti-Semitic and your daughter and it's like, how dare you think you're above me? That's what Trump's upset about.
It's amazing.
He said it's in the quote. It's in the quote of the story. Yet news writes it as Trump upset that he got punked by and didn't know that these guys were racist and anti-Semitic.
This is the only one.
Then why are you running cover for him? That's not what he said at all.
I would be
he was upset because Kanye had a bigger ego than him.
But it was all a mistake.
It really
you weren't
is.
supposed to be on that cart with those storm cloaks.
How do you know?
And the Imperial Legion needs your help, especially now with that dragon out there.
What are we doing? Are we
back on
going
the loose?
blue still?
What do you mean it's not? What do I mean? Like,
Sure.
Okay, so how about?
But I think you'll see. It's
You leaving?
best.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of the press? He's gone.
Tim Pool hosting notorious anti-Semites and racists like Kanye West and Nick Fuentes wasn't the win that he was hoping it would be. Kanye walked out of the show after Tim Pool barely pushed back kind of on some of his anti-Semitism. But he also spent some time sucking up to his hateful dweebs, and I want to give you some examples of that. So why don't we take a look at the first video?
Before the show, obviously, I'm getting a bunch of messages from people. People are hitting me up, and they're like, you shouldn't host them. They're anti-Semitic, they're white supremacists, they're racist. I do find the idea, I do find it funny or weird or whatever that, you know, Nick, they call you a white supremacist. You're here working with or for, you know, one of the most powerful black men, one of the wealthiest and most famous. But a lot of people were saying, on the right specifically, don't platform them. And I said, well, I want to understand what they're thinking and why they're thinking it. They're involved in what may be the biggest news story of the past week, and we have an opportunity to sit down and talk.
Because the red media controls both sides. It just said it as simple as possible. Jared Kushner was next to Trump. Ron Emanuel was next to Obama.
So I just wanted to play that first to give you a sense of what Tim Pool's pushback, what his challenging questions sound like. You know, challenging comments at, like, you know, Nick, I mean, I can't believe people call you racist. I mean, you're advising Kanye West. I mean, would a racist do that? Good job laundering the reputation of a well-known anti-Semite and racist. Like, good job. You did a great job there. Fantastic.
Yeah. So Fuentes is over-the-top racist. We showed you clips yesterday on the I can't do it justice, but I mean, among the things he said is the military should occupy black parts of town. Blacks can't rule themselves; they're inferior. It goes on and on. I mean, he's not subtle. There's no code words. He's just a flat out, outright racist white supremacist. It's not within bounds. And then what does Tim Pool do? He said, well, I mean, you're working with a black man who also thinks, wears White Lives Matter shirts, says, so, like, is an infinitely stupid man who's mentally ill, pushing white supremacist agenda. So you found a lackey to do the same, say the same things you are while being black. And Tim Pool launders that to, well, obviously you're not racist, Fuentes.
Some of your best friends are black, right?
Yeah. And by the way, when he said that, Fuentes' face was funny.
Yeah.
He's like, well, of course you're not racist. He's like, he seemed offended that he was being called not racist.
Now later, Poole tells Kanye that he feels the corporate press has been incredibly unfair to him. But apparently that level of ass kissing wasn't enough for Kanye. So why don't we take a look at how that worked out for Tim Pool?
I think they've been extremely unfair to you.
Who is they though? We can't say they is, can we?
Press. I'm not using the. I don't use the word as the way I guess you guys use. I'm talking about.
It is them though, isn't it? I mean, because because when you think about it, consider it. In 2018.
What do you mean it's not?
What do I mean? Like, okay, so how about? Are you leaving?
Are you afraid of the press?
He's gone. I'll say it right now. You guys want to bring that stuff up? And then think we're not going to have a conversation?
Like have the discussion.
Like you think he's going to come in here and say, here's my pain, here's my suffering. I'm going to say, I hear you. And then he's going to say, and it was Jewish people. And I'm going to be like, okay, but don't you consider, it's like, I'm not going to do this. I refuse.
Go, make sure he's cool.
All right, go for it. Luke and I will have a conversation.
Okay, so Jake, I know you've got a lot to say about that particular clip and the cowardice that's displayed there, the snowflake behavior that we see from Kanye, who can't even handle like the lightest disagreement imaginable, okay? But what did you think was gonna happen, Tim?
Yeah, you idiot.
I mean, did you think you were gonna have an exchange of ideas and Kanye, who has a obvious mental health issue and has said obvious anti-Semitic things, you think the media's been unfair to him? What exactly? I want to know, Tim. I really want Tim to answer this question, okay? I want Tim to tell me what exactly a person needs to say, verbalize, for you to admit or agree that that's anti-Semitic. On 2 different occasions, in the 20 minutes that Kanye West was on the show, he repeated, you know, Jared Kushner right next to Donald Trump, Rahm Emanuel right next to Obama. See? Like they're being controlled by Jewish people, right? Like that's what he's trying to say. He said that twice in the 20 minutes that he. What exactly does he need to say, Tim? Tell me what he needs to say.
Because it's not coded. He's not coding.
No, not at all.
Like in the old days, there's I have a quote in my upcoming book from Lee Atwater about this. It's like we used to say the N-word, and then it became politically damaging, so we started using code words, and he explained the different layers of the code words. Now Trump and Kanye and others have taken the code words away. Nick Fuentes doesn't use any code words. He just says they're inferior, we're superior, we should control them and lock them up, etc. Kanye doesn't use any code words. He's like, the Jews control the media, the Jews control everyone, they control Trump, they control Obama. Look, that's the definition of anti-Semitism. Look, I mean, I don't know what you want to call a fascist, a Nazi, an anti-Semite. I don't know that there's giant distinctions there. And if you guys say, no, the distinction is, no, Nazis actually kill the Jews, whereas the anti-Semites and the fascists,
they just fantasize.
They just encourage others to kill the Jews. I don't know. I don't know what your distinction is. But me, I don't have a distinction. I think Kanye West is a Nazi. So you invite, and Nick Fuentes is a Nazi. So you invited a couple of Nazis on your show. Tim, when you do that, you're supposed to rip their face off. And he looked genuinely surprised and hurt that Kanye was leaving.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, he said, oh no, my star, the one that's giving me all this attention is leaving. Oh, what if the money leaves with him? Oh my God.
No.
Oh, you bitch.
100%.
Get man up. No. Do a real goddamn interview, you loser.
No, it is an insult to bitches to call Tim Pool a bitch. I'm just saying, okay? The other thing that I'll just note is, all we hear from right-wingers, including Tim Pool, and yes, you piece of garbage, you're a right-winger, your little grift of, I'm actually a centrist who provides cover for anti-Semites. Yeah, we're not buying it. But we can't go a day without hearing from right-wingers defaming innocent people as groomers, as pedophiles, as dangerous individuals, whether we're talking about medical professionals, whether we're talking about educators. It's just endless, non-stop defamation of innocent people. But you invited someone who tried to make a case for pedophilia into your studio to have a nice, delightful conversation. Milo Yiannopoulos sitting right there. You didn't bother to ask a single question about his comments related to pedophilia, correct? Because you guys don't actually give a damn about pedophilia. The only time they care is when they can inaccurately label their political opponents groomers or sexual predators for political brownie points. That's what they do. That's who they are.
Milo was viciously racist, and no one in the right wing minded at all. That's not why he got driven from the right wing. He got driven from the right wing because he said that he didn't think there was anything wrong with older men, like literally grooming younger boys for relationships. I mean, that's textbook pedophilia. So Tim Pool has maybe one of the most renowned groomers or pro-groomer advocate in the room with him. Doesn't ask a single question. Because they don't mind groomers. They love it. They're they're the world's biggest hypocrites. So, and by the way, if you notice, Tim Pool said when Kanye was referring to Jewish people, he said, I don't use the word. He's like, in other words, I agree with you on the press, I just don't use the word Jewish, because he's got to have plausible deniability. Anyway, I don't care if Tim Pool's an anti-Semite or not. I don't care, okay? By the way, I don't mind platforming as long as you actually hit him, right? Instead, he comes in, he's like, oh, the press has been so unfair to you. You're halfway up the Nazi's ass. Is that the kind of interview you do? But I want to just say one more thing about Kanye. I mean, you want to talk about bitches. So this guy, I mean, Tim Pool's sitting there slobbering all over you. But because he wouldn't say the Jews did it, exactly when you demanded that he say it, you walk out, you're that fragile.
Yeah, he is.
This guy walks around pretending to be a tough guy. Oh, it's the Jews, I'm so strong and brave. Oh, it's the Jews, hate. I'm so strong and masculine. My ass you are. You're the weakest bitch in America. The minute anybody criticizes you 1%, your hateful ass all of a sudden catches feelings. You're like, oh my God, I've been offended. Look at what you're saying about Jewish people. And you think they shouldn't be offended, but you're offended because someone else wouldn't be as anti-Semitic as you are. And you think that gives you the right to walk away. Kanye, unbearable. I've never been more right than when I said, how many years ago now? 5 years ago? That Kanye was the dumbest man in America.
Well, I mean, the other thing I'll say about Kanye, and it came up repeatedly, again, during the 20 minutes he was on the show, he kept talking about how he was debanked, how he was, and look, this is my speculation, but it seems like he hasn't paid his taxes.
No, it's not speculation. He said it.
Yeah. I mean, he said it, but he says all sorts of insane things, right? But he didn't say, I didn't pay my taxes. He talked about his bank accounts being frozen, because you haven't paid your taxes. You haven't paid your taxes. That's not the so-called Jews coming after you. That's you thinking that you get to be treated completely differently from everyone else, that you get to dodge your taxes, not pay what you owe the federal government, and then when there are consequences, you get upset about it, and then, launch into some insane anti-Semitic conspiracy about your bank accounts being frozen. He talks about how, they want to send me to jail. He claims they want to send him to jail over his comments.
No, but he explained that his accountant told him that he owes $50 million in taxes. If you don't pay your taxes, ask Wesley Snipes, you go to jail, okay? That doesn't have anything to do with the Jews. That has to do with you being a moron and a thief. Pay your goddamn taxes, then you won't have to worry about any of this. He's like, what, I have to pay taxes like the average man? No, the average man should pay all of his taxes, even though he earns what? 1% of 1% of 1% of what I earn? We should take all that money from him, but I should be above the law and not pay taxes. And if you try to make me pay taxes, it's the Jews. No, you moron, it's you. I hope you do wind up in jail. I pay my taxes. Why don't you pay them, huh? Goddamn criminal.
All right, the other thing I really want to bring up is after Kanye had already walked out, Tim Pool told on himself. Because apparently he was planning this conversation in a way that would have protected Kanye to some extent. And he discloses that. Let's take a look at what I mean, and then we'll discuss.
I said, this is going to be a big issue. Before the show, obviously people are going to bring up the questions of anti-Semitism. Why don't we talk about the news? I want to hear what happened with this meeting. I want to understand what Ye 24 is, and then we can do a longer conversation about any of that stuff. And Ye, literally in the first 5 minutes, says, no, I want to talk about a group of people and point to them. Whatever, man. You want to know why? Look, you're not going to sit here and you're going to walk out of the room. You're free to do so, man. But literally, I said a couple sentences about, I don't think that's fair. Did I insult the man?
I wanted you to promote your laughable presidential campaign. I want to talk about the news of the day with you. And then maybe later we'll get to that whole anti-Semitic thing. Maybe I'll ask you about that. I mean,
look, these guys.
It's so obvious.
Every one of these ghouls and goblins tell on themselves nonstop. Back to the IRS thing, Kanye said in that segment, he's like, I don't understand numbers. So they were telling me, you claim you're a genius and you don't understand numbers.
Cenk, he used to think he was more like Malcolm X, but then he found out he's more like MLK.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, I got news for you. You're more like a dumbass. Dumb. Kanye is dumb. Okay, get it through your thick skull, Kanye. Everyone around you is an ass kisser who's looking to rob you of your money because they think this is the dumbest guy in America. It's so easy to take money from him, and none of them are Jewish. It's all your best friends that are probably robbing you blind because they think this guy's so stupid. He doesn't understand numbers. Go ahead, be more anti-Semitic. You coward, you loser, you idiot.
First toys for the holiday season, 2022. There's an organization known as World Against Toys Causing Harm, Inc. Watch is what they like to go by. And they have announced their picks for the 10 worst toys of 2022. So parents, you should be paying attention, because I'm sure you're researching what you should get your kids for holiday gifts. And these are the toys that could cause some severe damage to their person. Okay, so Coco Melon musical learning watch, not a good idea. Apparently, Coco Melon's learning watch can spontaneously combust. Okay, there are battery issues. There are also potential battery ingestion issues. So I kind of made up the thing about it spontaneously combusting. That's not true. But the battery is apparently easy enough to access for the kids, and if they decide to swallow it, they could be harmed by that. So a compartment in the back contains a coin cell battery. Such batteries are known to potentially cause severe injuries and death when ingested due to internal chemical burns. So I don't know why kids like to put everything in their mouths, but they do. So keep this away from them.
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah. So as you're gonna see in the list, I think there's two different buckets. Me as a parent, one is the stuff like, oh man, that's a dangerous chemical. Okay, good. That's very helpful to know that's on the naughty list, if you will. The ones that are secret suffocation risks, like, oh, it looks harmless, but a lot of people, if you sleep on that pillow this way, causes suffocation. Oh, okay, didn't know that. Secret danger. Thank you for the list. Then there's the other category of, this thing will poke your kid in the eye. Yeah, but pretty much everything pokes you in the eye, right? And then there's the category of, this is small enough for your kids to eat it. I know, but they can eat anything.
Okay, no, this is great. This is such a great conversation. So I know your kids are older at this point and are unlikely to harm themselves through sassy decor. But was there ever a point in your life where you guys had to strip your home of any personality and interior design to make sure that it was kid-friendly?
Yeah, so you don't have to take down any decor, but you do have to put up things like, the number one thing you gotta put up for sure is a guardrail on the stairs, right?
Yep.
Because otherwise they're gonna crawl, and it'll roll down the stairs. So
that would be bad.
That's a must. Then you get into optional stuff that people put like the little padding on the corners of the desks and the tables and stuff. And I'm like, I guess they could run and go get a headbutt with their eyeball.
They will, yeah.
But at the same time, it's not that likely. Okay,
Yeah.
so everybody make their own call.
The greatest thing about young kids is also the worst thing about young kids. It's their curiosity.
Yes, totally.
Right?
100%. And then your drawers. So you have to put the things that make the drawers impossible to open even for adults. So,
oh, the drawers, yes.
Yeah, there's that stuff.
Yep.
I hate that stuff.
Me too.
So I'm like, okay, on the knives and maybe the forks, okay, fine, put it in, okay? Every other drawer, they'll be fine. It's a napkin drawer. They'll hit themselves with a napkin, they're fine, okay?
Yep.
So I'm in the moderation camp. But some people, you'll walk into their house, it's like one of those sets from like E.T. or something where they discover an alien and everybody's got the hazmat suits on.
No, you gotta roll your kid around like Cenk did with his son.
Yeah,
you know?
so I've told the story before where a friend of mine, I go to their house, they literally have like one of those Purell things on every table, every desk. Like, the kid's not even around. Like, you're just walking around there. I got it, we got the Purell, I got it, right? Me, I'm like, no, I think you're doing it the wrong way. You gotta get them used to some germs. So, with Pro, I took him to a yard and I just rolled him around.
Okay, let's get to the rest of the list, okay? We've only done one so far. Coming in at number 2, Disney Rhea's action and adventure sword. I mean, do I really need to explain why this could be dangerous for young kids? I think you guys get it.
Like, swords in general, I don't think go on the list. Yeah, you can always take your eye out with any sword. But this one is particularly sharp with that. I would not have bought that for a kid. Like, the ending of that sword looked like it would do some serious damage.
Yeah, look, I'm a big proponent of not getting kids toys at all. Right?
Me too. Yeah.
So, what I do, I don't have children of my own, but I do have a lot of nieces and nephews. And we made their parents, our brothers and sisters, we forced them to open up education accounts. Or just a savings account for the kids. And every celebration, every holiday, we just contribute money to it. So when they're 18, it'll help them pay for college or trade school, whatever they decide to do with it, right? One lump sum of money that they've been accumulating through their 18 years of life because we refuse to get them toys. In the meantime, though, they kind of hate us. And that's okay, I'll take that hate, because they want the toys, right? They're kids, they don't know any better. But it's okay, I'll wait for when they're 18 so they can tell me that I'm the best, because I am.
Okay, well, it's not about you. So I don't get the kids toys because everybody else does. And they're drowning in toys. So the other day, I said to Pro that I would have gotten him this Pokemon thing that he's going to play video games with on Xbox or whatever the hell he's playing on. But he didn't have straight A's, so I didn't get it for him, okay? I was like, look, do good, yeah, and you know, there's good natural consequences that come from it. But I'm trying to teach them discipline and et cetera, right? Then my sister comes along, takes him to Target the next day and buys it for him. Okay, they're already gonna get it from every other family. My mom is unstoppable. She's like,
grandmas, we can't criticize them. Like the whole point, I feel like, of having kids is so you can badger them to have grandkids, so you can spoil the grandkids. So just give it to your mom, okay? Let her enjoy her life.
But that's why I'm not buying any extra toys for
No,
the kids.
totally agree with you on that. Okay, so let's go to 3. Lil Woody's Tickle Your Taste Buds Bakery. Now, there are potential choking hazards involved here.
Nah, this one I'm not buying.
69 pieces in this set. The bakery set is sold for small children, including miniature and potentially ingestible versions of pies, cake slices, bread, and other food items. The choking hazard warning appears only on the throwaway tag.
I said I'm not buying it. One, I'm literally not buying because I don't buy toys like I said. But I meant in this case, I'm not buying the warning. Like, yeah, it's got little pieces. You should always be careful with little pieces, but it's not that. This is just one of those things where they go, it's too small. They'll eat it. Yeah, but that applies to $200.
Then we have the Black Panther Wakanda Battle Claws. Potential for potential for eye and facial injuries. But Cenk, I just think that we're raising these kids to be too soft.
Well,
I think that's the problem, right? Because, I mean, remember the kind of toys we were playing with when we were kids, right?
Look, man, we
There used to be, like, sorry to interrupt you. There used to be, the ice cream truck used to sell fake cigarettes, candy cigarettes. They were like, where like it had powdered sugar inside.
Totally.
So you could pretend like you're smoking the candy cigarettes.
I had a comb that looked like a switchblade.
Of course you did.
Then I had an actual switchblade, which I would throw at trees all the time.
He was 3, yeah.
Okay, well, no, I wasn't 3, but I was young. And so, like, if I saw my kids with an actual switchblade throwing it at trees, I'm like, no, are you nuts? I would climb all the way to the top of the tree. That was super dangerous, right? We would do all these things. Now they're like, it's a little toy, and they could eat it. Or it's a thing that shoots things. I remember what we used to do. This is how mental we were in the 80s. My son says, I tell him these stories. I didn't tell him this one, but he's like, your dad, your life was an 80s movie. Okay, and it's so true. But I remember being in the basement when we were playing darts. And we got bored of playing darts. So then we invented a game called Kuchina Munchina. And what that means is you run around the basement and throw darts at each other.
Oh my God.
Okay, do not do that at home. Do not do that. It's a minor miracle we didn't get massively injured. But we would hit each other, luckily not in the head. But that was by accident. Like, we would hit each other. The bodies would have darts stuck to us. Okay, that was the 80s, guys. That was the 80s. There was no rules.
Jesus Christ. All right. Now we get to the more absurd items on this list. And I think this has to be the most absurd. It's a stuffed animal, literally a stuffed animal. There you have it. That's the stuffed animal.
And what's wrong with that one?
It's the Zeus lion. And potential for ingestion/aspiration injuries. Apparently the toy's long, fiber-like hair may not be adequately rooted and is prone to shedding. The hair, once separated, presents the potential for ingestion or aspiration injuries. No, come on.
Nah.
No, they're stretching. They're stretching.
Dude, we threw darts at each other. They'd be okay, right? They'd be okay with the lion's hair.
Then there's the Stingray musical bath toy, which I'm not even having a conversation about. Like, that's insane.
It's called a Dingray. That's hilarious. It looks like a stingray and it's a Dingray. I'm thinking of buying it even though my kids are 10 and 12.
They're worried about ingestion and choking injuries.
We gonna eat that whole thing?
The manufacturer recognizes the ingestion hazard posed by the approximately 6-inch long mallet.
The mallet's no.
Come on, no one's swallowing the mallet.
No, that's you guys are. You know what happens? Like you start an organization, and then even if it's like doesn't make sense,
you have to justify your existence. Yeah, right. That's what they're doing. They're justifying it. Like, I'm sure at some point when kids were throwing darts at each other, this made sense. This organization.
Oh yeah. And
right?
back in the day, I mean, they would make cars that fell apart. That's what Ralph Nader originally got famous for fighting against, because they wanted to sell more car parts and more cars, so they made them so that they would fall apart. It was an unbelievable risk, okay? And the toys, they're like, oh, this was where Johnny will like this. Now it explodes every once in a while, but like 3 babies were murdered the other day when it exploded. So that's when the organizations like this were sorely needed. Now they're chow needed, a little needed, okay? But now, oh, it's 6 inches, and they might put it in there. No.
I'm willing to have a conversation about Ooze Labs. Okay, so Ooze Labs Chemistry Station, which I'm a big fan of STEM toys as gifts. Those are the only toys I actually do buy here and there. But in this case, I mean, it's got actual chemical issues. So there are numerous warnings and cautions on the box, in the manual, and on the packaging for the assorted chemicals and ingredients, including do not get in eyes, in mouth, or on clothing, do not ingest, avoid breathing dust, keep out of reach of small children. So like, look, if I were to buy this toy for a child in my family, I would make sure that it if we play with the chemistry station, we play with it together, right? Because it's supposed to be a learning experience. And so make it a learning experience. You don't just give them the chemistry station and tell them to F off, right? Like, you do it with the kids, you teach them about science, yeah.
No, don't buy your kids an atom particle accelerator. They might accidentally destroy the universe. So, yeah, this one is in my original list of things that cause suffocation or chemical burns. Okay, so that one, if the chemicals are actually unsafe, of course. Good job. Hey, there you go. Just make the list like 2 or 3 long and you're good to go. But you don't have to fill out the whole 10 if they're not actually.
The bunny rabbit cuddly pillow, potential for suffocation.
I don't know how.
Then in that case, anything can make you suffocate. Like, what are you talking? I mean, okay, so if you can't even get stuffed animals and stuffed toys for kids because they're too dangerous, what can you get them? What's safe enough?
Yeah, in the 1970s, there was a thing about killer bunnies and made it into some Monty Python movies. Apparently, that's a killer bunny right there that we just saw. Look, if some kid actually dies from it, and they're like, oh, no, you guys are wrong. Okay, I hear you. But, I mean, like Anna said, if you can't buy that, you pretty much can't buy anything.
It could potentially block a baby's mouth, causing suffocation. The organization would like to see warnings about the potential of this stuffed animal suffocating young children. Okay.
Like in the old days, they would have toys, and maybe they still do sometimes, where they'd have like a string, and then like what you don't realize as a parent is, oh, that string can unwind and wrap around your kid's neck. Okay, good. Give me a warning about that.
Yo-yos.
Right?
Are yo-yos still a thing?
Well, but you're not sleeping with the yo-yos.
Yo-yos
like things that you sleep with that have strings that unwind is a problem. There's like other different kinds of problems. But hey, this is a giant pillow, and your kid might eat it so hard that he might suffocate. Is not a thing.
The pop-in fidget spinners, they made an appearance on this list, coming in at number 9. Reason, potential for choking injuries. The pop-in spinners are made with 3 small rubber inserts, which present a potential choking hazard if removed. The manufacturer provides no warnings or age recommendations. Can I just say, one of the things that befuddles me the most is how much kids love those pop-in toys. Oh, they live for it.
Yeah. Now, what that is a combination of the last 2 trends. So the spinners, they love the spinners.
They love the spinners.
And then the poppets, oh, they're obsessed with the
Can't
poppets.
get enough.
So I made a pledge to not buy my daughter any poppets because all of her friends were obsessed, so she got obsessed. And no pledge has been violated more thoroughly. Okay, for a while, I don't know that I probably did it too, but everyone bought her poppets. I couldn't stop it. There was a tsunami of poppets, and you go to a room and everything was popping. So now they're taking the spinner and the poppet and put it into the same toy. Oh, you guys are exhausted.
Extravaganza, but it's real dangerous, so be careful. This one I do agree with. I've never liked these toys. I hate that they still exist. It's the Nerf guns. Okay? The Gel Fire Mythic Nerf gun. Look, anything that actually shoots a projectile onto anyone else, I'm not a fan.
Kids love it.
They do. That's why I hate it. Like, put the Nerf gun down and stop shooting them.
Yeah. So first of all,
the danger to the children is me wanting to hurt them if they hit me with the Nerf gun.
That's funny you say that because I was going to do similar things. Well, first of all, I tell you warn the kids: do not ever go to a front lawn with a toy gun. Be super careful with toy guns if your friends have them, etc. Number 2 is those Nerf guns right there are much bigger danger for the parents than they are for the kids. Because the kids will go spray the whole house with 200 Nerf little balls. And then you're going to trip over them. They're going to be all over the house. Other people are going to trip over them. It's a nightmare. Okay, so on parents alone, don't buy it. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. I really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you got to do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.
people want both parties to move from the fringes, from the extremes, back to the center.
That is Chris Wallace on his new show, Who's Watching Chris Wallace? Sorry, Who's Talking to Chris Wallace, or something like that. It's on HBO Max. I'm sure you know that. It was originally slated to be on CNN's, like CNN Plus, before they canceled that, embarrassingly. But undeterred, he continues to press his agenda on everyone, and that is the agenda of the mainstream media, to reframe things in a way that benefits corporations. He says that, oh, everybody wants to take it toward the center, and AOC pushed back.
I think a lot of people in this country may say yes, but it's important for us to dig into the substance of what that actually means. As someone who is often, I think, characterized as extreme, I, of course, would object to that. I do not believe that I am as extreme in the way that Marjorie Taylor Greene on the Republican side is extreme. The idea that there is an equating of believing in someone who believes in guaranteed universal health care in the United States with someone who believes that undocumented people should incur physical harm are somehow in the same level of extreme is something that I would object to.
So for people who are new to this, in mainstream media, what they do is say, hey, everything on the left is just as crazy as everything too far to the right. Let's meet in the middle. And then the middle conveniently turns out to be stuff that benefits major corporations that run ads on those networks. Now, this is a difficult question. Did AOC handle it correctly, incorrectly? Jay, thoughts?
Yeah, so my main complaint about her answer is that it was too erudite. Ironically, I'm doing the same thing right now. I bring it down, like make it simpler and easier to understand. She's giving too much credence to Chris Wallace. Look, don't get me wrong, the tenor of the answer, well, the substance of the answer is correct. Let me put it that way. But here's how I would have answered. No, Chris, I don't know that I would have said it exactly this way. I love you, brother, but the framing of that question is completely and utterly wrong. So, number one, you say extremes as if they're as if our side is even extreme. I totally reject it. In fact, I think the extreme position is what you all in mainstream media call laudable. And at that point, Chris Wallace could jump out of his seat. What do you mean? It's definitely a moderate position to be fulfilled.
It's about the first, so things are tight around the house.
Okay? So, for example, AOC's position as a position of all progressives is to be in favor of paid family leave.
I very much in favor of that. I think it's like super disrespectful that we don't even have that, honestly.
We're killing that proposal. Well, who's extreme, Chris?
My thing is,
clearly the entire.
Like, my thing is paid family leave. Like, if you say no to that, why? Like, legitimately, why would you say no to paid family leave? That's for you, that's for me, that's for the lady across the street, that's for the family up the yonder. You feel me? Like, everybody benefits from that. Well, I mean, maybe not single people, but like, if need be, I'm open. Like, see me, I'm not. The only thing I'm not for is giving maps and sexual predators space. That's it. Everything else, for the most part, as long as it doesn't hurt somebody in my mind, it's live and let live. I literally could care less. But like, come the fuck on. You can extend that this way too. It's not difficult. Let's do some work, huh? I guess once. So I put in these two mods called High Level Enemies and High Level Enemies Redux. Those two mods together boost up the HP in all of the stuff for the enemies, and then I put stuff on to give them like extra damage reduction too, so that way it takes slightly longer to kill them. Like, I won't two-tap them.
like having my action bars visible at all times. And plus my action bars and stuff, they're gonna stay the same.
Go to Solitude and join up with the Imperial Legion.
Auto. I don't think I put on the what's it?
There really is someone like you.
Okay, so
And if the rebels have themselves a dragon, General Tully is the only one who can stop them.
yeah. I don't care about your general Tully stuff. I need to empty my bags.
See that ruin up there? Bleak Falls Barrow. I was before.
I'd listen to him more if I could take him with me as a companion. Because I'd love to take him as a companion. See, ideally I'd want to be able to move the mini map too, but I can't. It's a fixed position and I don't know how to do it in the thing for it, so I don't really care too much. We'll tank for a little while.
These are the Guardian Stones. 3 of the 13 ancient standing stones.
We gotta find the other 13 too, because you get, as you collect them all, you get more, you get more buffs and stuff. I don't really care too much to hold on one second. Close that. Just one page. Especially while I'm hanging. So I have no reason to keep two of them really. Yeah, I know. You can get the time. He ain't gonna die, but let me get some settings. Oh wait, yes. We gotta move it up, so vertical. Take it to negative 80, see what that does.
slightly better. Not the best, but slightly better. I might as well wait for him.
I'm glad you decided to come with me. We're almost to River.
Yeah, I know. Ooh. Come here, pupper.
Now you're mine.
I probably lost that body, didn't I? No, that's still in place. I guess I like the mini map, so that way I don't have to look inside.
She's already mine.
You are gonna come with me this time.
Someone that has seen faraway places. Lucan's got if you need weapons or armor. See, truly. You had best tell the Jarl White Run. Camilla Valerius knows. I've seen him sneaking over to the Riverwood Trader and speak with him.
Okay, come inside.
You may be right. Camilla may see Faendal as little more than a friend, but why take chances? Here, give Camilla this letter. It's full of venomous nonsense. Tell her it's from Faendal. All right.
Sure. Coming here and taking that. Oh yeah. We'll see if we can sleep on their bed. Because we need somewhere to sleep, please. I'm good and stoned.
Ain't every day we get visitors in Riverwood. Gerder's family first settled here as woodcutters a few generations ago. She and Hod run the mill. I make a decent living sharpening axes and fixing the sawmill. People are rightly stirred up about the damn Thalmor being allowed to roam around arresting people, just for worshipping Talos. But was it worth
Talos is important to us too because Talos is 20%
no.
shout.
Ulfric will have a lot to answer for
shout
in the end. Nords have always supported the Empire, and the Empire has always been good for Skyrim. It's from that treaty that ended the Great War, remember?
No,
when the Emperor was forced by the Thalmor to outlaw Talos worship. We didn't pay much attention to it when I was a boy. Everyone still had their little shrine to Talos. But then, Ulfric and his sons of Skyrim started agitating about it. Sure enough, the Emperor had to crack down, dragging people off in the middle of the night. One of the main causes of this war, if you ask me.
I mean, I agree.
Of course. What's all this about? What are you two doing here? What? A dragon? In Helgen? May the gods watch over your back. Sigrid, we have company. Aye.
Oh, here we go. We can sleep. We'll head out at 6. I don't think I'll add in any companions yet. I'll start working on my gear.
Hadvar, we've been so worried about you.
There we go.
Come, you two must be hungry. Sit down and I'll get you something to eat.
Now I'll sit down.
Now then, boy.
As I rock.
What's the big mystery? What are you doing here looking like you lost an argument with a cave bear?
I don't know where to stop. You know I was assigned to General Tullius' skull. We were stopped in Helgen when we were attacked by a dragon.
A dragon? That's ridiculous. You
Why
want
is
to
that
drop,
ridiculous?
are you, boy?
No?
Husband, let him tell his story.
Yeah, I'd listen
Not much
to it.
more to tell. This dragon flew over and just wrecked the whole place. Mass confusion. I don't know if anyone else got out alive. I doubt I'd made it out myself if not for my friend here. I need to get back to Solitude and let them know what's happening.
Oops.
I thought you could help us out. Food, supplies, a place to stay.
Of course. Any friend of Hadvar's is a friend of mine.
Okay, well,
Glad to
appreciate
help
you.
however I can. Of course. Any friend like us, I'm glad to help, but the Jarl needs to know if there's a dragon on the loose. We need to get word to Jarl Balgruuf in Whiterun. Cross the river and then head north. You'll see it just past the falls. When you get to Whiterun, just keep going up. When you get to the top of the hill, you're at Dragon's Reach, the Jarl's palace. Jarl Balgruuf, he rules Whiterun Hold. A good man, perhaps a bit overcautious, but these are dangerous.
That's fair.
So far, he's managed to stay out of the war. I'm afraid it can't last, though. I don't think he likes either Ulfric or Ellis as much. Who can blame him? But I've no doubt he'll prove loyal to the Empire in the end. He's no traitor.
Just because you like the Empire doesn't mean, you know, everybody
Of course,
should.
Skyrim has always been part of the Empire. That doesn't mean I support everything the Empire's been doing lately.
look like? Did it have...
But Nords have never been... Well, I
Don't
better
pester
get
your
back to
cousin.
work. You two make yourselves at home. All right, then.
Later, later.
You lost.
You there. The Dawn Guard is looking for anyone willing to fight against the growing vampire menace. What do you say? Ha! Isran's going to like you. Go talk to him at Fort Dawn Guard, southeast of Ripon. He'll decide if you're Dawn Guard material.
Take what you need, my friend.
Report to Isran at Fort Dawn Guard. And get moving if you're serious about it.
Whatever you need.
The vampires aren't going to wait
Here
around to
if
make
it's
their
simple
next
and
move.
strong. I can
All
forge
right,
it.
then.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Well, one of us has to do something.
I said no. No adventures, no theatrics.
Maybe you could talk some sense into my pig-headed brother. From Feindel? That's... What? Well, you can tell that long-eared ass not to come around the store anymore.
The Riverwood Trader is everything you need in a general store.
I think I have a few old spell books laying about. If you want more, you'll have to go to the College of Winterhold.
I only got a little bit of gold. Boo. No, I'm joking. I'm okay with that. shit. Hmm? I'll go get some money in a little bit.
Oh, a bit of this and a bit of that. Yeah, we did have a break-in. We still have plenty to sell. Robbers were only after one thing. An ornament, solid gold in the shape of a dragon's claw.
I can get the claw back for you for a price.
You could? I've got some coin coming in from my last shipment. It's yours if you bring my claw back.
If you're going to get those thieves, you should head to Bleak Fall. Northwest.
Town.
So this is your...
Okay, now we gotta go to the left. Go down 5. Excuse me.
Plan, Lucan?
Better. I should probably write this down, honestly.
Yes. So now you don't have to go, do you?
Oh, really? Well, I think you're new. We're here needs a guide.
No,
It's not really for you to tell her, is that old man?
By
She's
the
a
80.
grown-ass woman.
Fine. But only to the edge of town.
She gonna do whatever she wanna do. Let's go find Sven.
You look like a traveler. Now that's what I like to hear. Good work. Lead the way.
You can see it from here, though. The
New to
mountain just
Riverwood?
over the buildings.
If you're looking for work, go see Father Demir.
Where the hell is Alva? Okay, so he's out here now. Just gotta wait for him to come out. There we go. We'll get him ready. I don't feel like tanking right now, so I'm gonna get him all kitted up, see how much he'll survive with.
I've got your back. You go on ahead.
Enjoy. What's up, girl? Taking her out this time, too. Just a little nappy nap. You see, it doesn't. It just pisses me off. It doesn't work. Crafting, right? Or do we have crafting in there? We do not. No bash. That's okay. Yeah, that'll work. Anyway. It's okay. Dodger set.
Not just the Trump guys. The entire Republican Party is intensely extreme for being against a proposal that 84% of Americans, and by the way, 74% of Republicans want. So who's extreme, Chris? And you say, oh, well, that's probably just one issue. No, first of all, as you'll see in my book, justicescomingbook.com, which you can pre-order at, the whole first chapter is dozens and dozens of polls that show that we're incredibly, our policy proposals are incredibly popular on almost every issue, but I'll just give you two more here. How about The federal minimum wage. Well, a new Amazon Ipsos poll released, this was from 2021, found that 80% of Americans believe the current federal minimum wage is not sufficient. 80%. So which one is the extreme position, Chris? Because AOC said we should raise the federal minimum wage. And 8 Democrats and every Republican said no. 80% of the people, American people, say yes. So obviously, Manchin, corporate Democrats like Coons, Carper, every Republican is super extreme to be against 80% of the American people. Finally, public option. This is not Medicare for all. It's not universal health care. It's like the bare minimum. Hey, while you have private insurance, can the government also offer you a public option for insurance that you could choose to take or not take? How does that poll? Well, that polls extremely high as always. So 68% at least saying yes, we want the public option. 18% saying they don't want it. So who's extreme, the 68% or the 18%? So every part of that premise is 100% wrong. And she was correct in what she said. She just said it way too politely. That's my opinion. Max.
I'll tell you, I've heard of media equivalency, but Chris Wallace really elevates it to an art. I mean, it is honestly portrayed as more extreme in this country to support canceling student debt than to stand in front of 20,000 people and say, let's use our Second Amendment rights to stop Democrats from stealing elections. I mean, we spend so much time as a country bringing Democrats onto supposedly crazy left-wing media and asking them to justify what is mainstream policy for 70, 80, as you said, % of this country. And yet I've never seen Chris Wallace sit down with a Marjorie Taylor Greene or a Lauren Boebert and ask them to defend really any of the calls to violence that they have said at Trump rallies or at their own rallies. It is just a remarkable thing to see that these are painted as equally extreme when, if anything, what AOC is doing is representing more fearlessly than the Democratic establishment what a majority of people in this country actually want.
And by the way, not just the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and the Lauren Boeberts, I've never seen them ask what they call a moderate Republican or a moderate Democrat one tough question in their entire goddamn lives. And then it's more frustrating with Chris Wallace because Chris Wallace is actually pretty good at this. So we're fair. Like of all the interviewers, Chris Wallace usually asks the toughest questions. And even him, when it comes to the so-called centrists, nope. Oh, a beautiful, lovely, awesome, moderate corporate Democrat and Republican, tell us how awesome you are, right? So why didn't he ever ask them? Isn't it incredibly extreme to be against paid family leave? Isn't it incredibly extreme to be against higher wages when the American people obviously want higher wages? Never, not once, not Chris Wallace, not any other reporter. They call themselves reporters, but they've never asked a tough question of the people who actually rule this country, which is the people who serve corporations and the donors.
And you'd think you'd have enough evidence by pointing to those polls to be like, all right, everything that AOC advocates for is in line with most people in America. And that would be enough to say, like, everything that she says is not crazy. But let's look at that show's existence.
I gotta cut this off.
The reason that